Hello everybody and welcome to Paradise Games here. We're bringing you some Friday Night Magic. This will be standard tonight. We should have 4 rounds for you guys tonight. I'm Alex. Joining me in the booth is Steven.
Hello.
And we're going to be casting some games tonight. So it looks like we've got James on Esper stacks. This is the Doom Foretold Dance the Man stack that kind of took off early in the season and then got immediately outshadowed by Golos and whatever. But now that menace is gone, it's back a little bit.
We back.
Yeah. And Brett on some Gruul aggro. So what do you think of this matchup, just kind of in theory here?
Well, Brett's list matters a lot here. Haste creatures, great. Not haste creatures, not great.
Okay, that tracks.
We're playing against 4 Kaya's Wraths, presumably.
Definitely.
And so the game's going to be a lot about, can Brett play around those Wraths? Can he play around the removal? How does he manage all that on the board? James' life total is sort of the number that matters, and we'll see how it goes down.
Excellent. Well, it looks like James took a quick mulligan to 6 here, presumably, and Brett likely keeping his 7-card hand. I see some forests and some red cards. Look like he might be missing red mana at a glance here. James's hand, Oath of Kaya, a couple Fabled Passage, Dance of the Mance are the standouts to me. Looks like a Doom Foretold at the front of his hand there as well. So it looks like James is on the play. Fabled Passage, send it back over to Brett. Brett draws Once Upon a Time for turn. That's a good one to draw right off the top. Yep, right. Just like we drew it up.
And that's probably a big part of why Brett wasn't too worried about not having a red source. This Once Upon a Time presumably will find him one, although...
He did definitely just draw that Once Upon a Time.
Oh,
right
okay.
off the top.
Well,
yeah. But, he's champion.
That's why we put him in the deck.
Yep. Also, notably, did just find him a forest. Here is that Arboreal Grazer.
Oh, yeah.
Putting a Castle Garenbrig into play tapped.
So this Arboreal Grazer is actually huge, just getting Brett back on the play, basically.
It's pretty relevant. Also, against Esper stacks, it just is something that you are happy to sacrifice to Doom Foretold.
Yeah, it also being a real piece of cardboard is great as well.
Yeah. Jesse kind of tore Brett a new one for putting this card in his Gruul aggro deck last week. But it looks pretty good here.
Yeah, no, this is definitely a spot where it's going to be great. You're on the draw, you're playing against a deck where the 0-3 actually just is going to be a card eventually.
Yeah. Quite relevant. Looks like Godless Shrine off the top for James. He'll go ahead and play a Watery Grave tapped and send the turn on back. No relevant turn 2 play. Or if we had one, doesn't want to shock. I think he might have a Golden Egg or something.
And I'm pretty happy with that position as well. Like I said, the game is just all going to be about James' life total.
Yeah. It looks like James did have a Thought Eraser, but of course he decided to fetch a Plains with the Fabled Passage for his color sources, and was not able to cast Thought Erasure on turn 2. So here is another forest to get that Thought Erasure. We'll take a look at Brett's hand. Looks like Questing Beast, and to be honest, I can't quite see the rest of them. Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the stream. Why does this card always look so good? I can't stand it. I'm in a similar boat. Everybody that knows me knows my feelings on Arboreal Grazer. I'm not a huge fan.
I will say, though the turn 1 is good, the turn 2 is certainly lacking. Where no plays is not where you want to be.
Yeah, no joke. So I saw Skargan Hellkite, but that was the only card that I actually got a good look at in that hand. I think there might be a second copy of Questing Beast.
We're so far from casting any Skargan Hellkites at this point.
Yeah, we're a little ways off that. All right, let's see. James taking a little bit of time on that surveil. Looks like it's going to stay where it is. Send the turn back over to Brett. Brett takes a draw. I believe that is Beast. The 4-mana 2/3 whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card.
Yes,
Beast Whisperer.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I will say, Jesse, I think you made it all the way back because no 4th land is not looking so good for
yeah,
the Arboreal Grazer.
means that the Arboreal Grazer, as soon as you missed that land drop, the Arboreal Grazer did nothing. So it looks like...
we're getting word here that Brett's keep was, well, I'm feeling lucky.
Classic. Yes, the distinct lack of Kenrith's transformations means this beatdown plan is not getting there. Looks like here is a Thought Erasure followed up by a Golden Egg, I believe, for James. 2 Doom Foretolds in his hand. Ooh, Brett... Draw and go again. He's got the classic just my hand backwards line.
And
here's another egg.
James just cooking right along here. He's got a Guild Glow for his heat source, and that egg's going to be hard boiled by the end of this game.
Also, James notably missing land drops. So he's actually not really pulling ahead here. He's just kind of cycling and doing nothing with it. Here is the Stomping Ground from Brett and the Beast Whisperer.
All right, so that's a live one.
Yeah. James probably going to feel pressured into doing something about this. I would be surprised if we didn't see this Oath of Kaya come down. I think I also spotted a Planar Cleansing in James's hand.
But the Oath of Kaya is good here.
Yeah. Oath of Kaya does the job here.
What I said earlier was, we're going to have to see how do we manage playing around sweepers and also spot removal, and so far the spot removal is lining right up.
Yeah, here we are. Looks like another land off the top for Brett, given the way he's fidgeting with that card. Could just be another 4-mana spell.
Deciding what to cast here. All right.
Looks like Questing Beast.
Yes, Besting Quest.
The Besting Quest. Hit James for 4, down to 17 will James be. And well, now we have to deal with this thing again too. Doom Foretold doesn't deal with it this turn, but it will deal with it on the following turn, and I expect that's going to be James's play.
That's just totally fine. James has enough of these little eggs, the egg and the gold globe, to burn that he's got plenty of time to figure out another plan.
The Oath of Kaya as well. Yeah, so the Arboreal Grazer hitting the bin. We talked about that interaction earlier. There's the Genris transformation. Just a little too late there. You think we're going to see some post-combat Kenris transformation and then sack it to Doom Foretold?
I mean, that's totally on. That's probably good, right?
Yeah, that's probably where we're at, right? All right. I'm not certain what that one is off the top of my head. We'll have to get some confirmation from the floor as to that card. Looks like another Doom Foretold off the top for James. Oh, boy. And Teferi coming down, presumably returning a Questing Beast to hand or...
No.
Oh, Oakham Adversary.
Oh, Oakham Adversary, okay.
Got it. Yeah, we don't want him drawing cards when he hits us.
Well, and now we can kill the Questing Beast straight up, right?
Yeah, great. Excellent. No Kenris transformation, though. Disaster.
It would have been good.
It would have been really good. Well, not really good. It would have just got bounced to his hand, and then he would have ended up getting the Doom Foretold to go off on his turn. So now Brett has the interesting decision of, do I play a card and continue fighting into this Doom Foretold, or do I just pass the turn and let it pop?
Yeah, playing against Doom Foretold, this is always one of the key points you have to figure out. You almost always get into this position eventually where it's like, well, should I just let them have it now, but give them their whole turn and give them the 2/2 and the life and the cards, or can I continue to play the game this way? And oftentimes the answer is no, but it can go either way.
Yeah, for sure. Notably, Skargan Hellkite got some haste. So, if his hand is full of more of those haste creatures, he could theoretically just sign himself up for the race, like, all right, every card I draw off the top is going to be 4 damage, let's go. But I doubt his hand has enough of those threats to be able to really play that game.
And my main concern about that is I think if you're going to do that, the first one kind of has to go at Teferi, because you don't want an instant speed Kaya's Wrath to mess up your whole plan.
It would be a disaster.
But by the time we've done that, that's already 4 life off the clock, right?
Yeah, so, we're going through, and James notably at 13, not 12. That's another important factor here.
Yeah, no, it's that 13th point of life is pretty huge here.
All right, here's the Oakham Adversary coming back down, and the Arboreal Grazer. Hello. That's a live piece of cardboard again.
Yeah, exactly. Like we said before, it's going to sack to Doom Foretold here, and that's exactly what Brett needs here.
Dovin's Veto off the top for James. He's got the Dance of the Manse in his hand. Wonder if he'll feel the need to pull the trigger. I don't hate the play from James, just cast another Doom Foretold here. But it looks like he's just going to say go, hold up his Dovin's Veto. Arboreal Grazer hits the bin, of course.
Conveniently, he's also holding up Dance of the Manse.
Oh, also very true.
Because the Teferi +1 allows him to cast Dance of the Manse anytime he likes, so he can just kind of wait, see, okay, well...
Yeah, no rush on anything here, that's for sure. All right, let's see what Brett's got up his sleeve here. He's probably going to need something relevant.
I will say I would like to have seen James sacrifice the Oath of Kaya.
So that he could
can dance it back right now. Yeah, being able to, to just take out the Oakham Adversary at combat here or something like that would
does seem powerful, yeah. So here are the attacks. Looks like all at you, declares Brett. Planar Cleansing as an instant.
All right, just doing it.
Yeah, Brett probably feels okay about this one, right?
You really have to,
get the full reset here. That's not too bad.
If you were worried about the Doom Foretold, we
got
off the board, right?
Yeah. Well, we know there's another one coming, but
Well, yeah, sure.
Brett
but
didn't.
From Brett's perspective,
Yeah, Brett
you
didn't.
kind of have to just hope your opponent's on a couple of blanks here. I
Yeah,
think.
for sure. Looks like Doom Foretold will activate. Brett will be discarding 1 card, losing 2 life. James will be making a 2/2, gaining 2 life, and drawing a card. So
Not sure what's in Brett's hand here, but no matter what it is, it's going to be a tough spot.
yeah, I mean, we know he has that Skargan Hellkite. It looks like he's discarding Kenrith's transformation. That makes sense.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, the discard's the easy part, but now we have more life points, a 2/2. You got to be kind of suspicious at this point that a dance is on the way. Because
it really feels like, every time you elect to do nothing into a Doom Foretold, you give that player a turn, and really you're on that dance clock. As soon as they play Dance X6, the game's basically over.
Correct,
right?
yeah.
Like, you really can never beat that, and it feels like you are on a clock and you have to beat them before they cast Dance X6, and whether that means, you have to hope they don't have it or whatever, but is what it is. But the more that you just stall and wait around, it's just going to be rough.
Our 2/2 Rock Hydra's rolling in here.
Yep. There's the Skargan Hellkite attacking in for 4, putting James down to 11. Here's a tapped Hallowed Fountain. We'll see what else James wants to do. I think he has another Doom Foretold in his hand. I'd be kind of surprised to see something other than that.
Oh, yeah, I think we're just slamming that and passing.
Yeah.
That's why we play 4, so we can just...
Yep, just go ahead and kill your Skargan Hellkite.
Yep.
We're going to sacrifice our Doom Foretold, but that's fine because we have this Dance of the Mance.
Yeah, Doom Foretold, great in multiples.
Yes. And even Doom Foretold just acting as kills target Skargan Hellkite here for 4 mana.
It's already plenty.
Yeah, totally fine. Yep.
And it will keep having an impact here.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, Oath of Kaya in hand for James. He could have cast the Oath of Kaya on that turn and just domed.
Yeah,
Brett
I
with
actually like that play quite a bit, just because
I tend to agree.
now he'd have something to sacrifice. Brett's life total, I mean,
Not high.
with these 2/2s continuing to attack, and if the next Doom Foretold deals another 2, it's gonna pretty quickly come under fire here.
Absolutely.
We're gonna get to the point where you don't even have to have the full 6 for Dance of the Mance, and just all the Oath of Kayas will get there.
Yep, for sure. So here is Castle Vantress off the top for James. And now he has Dance of the Mance.
We have 9 mana now.
He has Oath of Kaya and Dovin's Veto in hand.
Nice.
So we're missing the Dance, I think. Now we'll see what he wants to do. Yeah, it looks like he only has Oath of Kaya and Dovin's Veto. So I
Okay.
don't think he actually
So
has
there
a
was no
Dance of the
dance.
Mance. Yeah. I think I must have misseen that for the 3rd copy of Doom Foretold.
Sure.
But that definitely changes things quite a bit. Looks like here's the attack for 2. Just going to gut check Brett real quick. We get to trade. We get to Oath of Kaya down the Gruul Spellbreaker if, of course, Brett decides to block. But it feels like
hard
you have
to want to make that block.
You probably have to, though. Like, what are you going to do? Not attack, too? I mean...
Well, no, if you attack, the Oath of Kaya doesn't
The Oath
do
of
it,
Kaya
right?
doesn't shut it off,
You can just play around it.
Yeah, but...
I think quite the opposite. Here you're kind of hoping that this 4/4 with the next thing you draw, basically you're going to go the distance, right? You don't have a whole lot of extra juice.
That makes sense. This is a Voracious Hydra. It will fight down the night,
I'm a little surprised we're fighting here.
as opposed to doubling.
Yeah. I at least want to attack first, but
Yeah, I tend to agree. I do enjoy the
a little Castle Vantress
fight
action.
there. Looking for Egg and Egg are the top 2 cards of James's deck. I'm pretty inclined to just bottom these and try and spike a Dance off the top.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page here. Akaya's Wrath is really good, but we won't have necessarily enough mana to play it if we spend too much time cycling. And
Looks like James agrees. Top card is Legion's End, so we at least get to get rid of this Hydra.
well, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, don't feel too bad about that
James's
one.
life total's really coming under fire here, though.
Yeah, going to be going to 3 on our turn. Definitely not where we want to be. So here's the Oath of Kaya coming down just upstairs.
Gain 3.
Yep. Not the worst, but certainly not the best. And of course we're going to be Legion's Ending the Hydra. Oh, we aren't?
Did we see the card wrong, perhaps?
Oh no. We must have. Because you'd definitely be Legion's Ending that Hydra if you could. Alright, so here's an attack.
And you can see Brett there with the hands.
It's like,
this is what I'm doing.
This is what I signed up for.
That's
yeah.
right.
Scry 2, Guild Globe Teferi. That ain't it.
No.
I mean, if we do have the Legion's End, then Teferi.
If the
oh
card
no,
is
it doesn't
actually-
actually do anything
no, it
because
doesn't.
Girl Spellbreaker can gain haste.
it's just
So
one more.
bottom. There, and we don't have enough mana to be able to scry on upkeep, so we're just gonna take a peel. Oh, is that Doom Foretold or Dance?
Oh, it looks like it was.
It's definitely one of them.
Yeah, it is. I cannot tell.
Yeah, it's definitely one of them. We'll see. James is
think
casting
it's-
it, that's for sure.
I think it's Doom Foretold.
That's where I
but
lean
it-
too, but it's how much more likely that it's Dance.
All right, well, we're done here, so it must have been Doom Foretold.
Yeah, it must have been, and we must have missaw that Legion's End. Must have been some other card that we did not quite see. So, anyways, players are going to go ahead and take to their sideboards. Brett up a game. Let's take a look at his sideboard first. We have 1 Domri, Anarch of Bolas, 4 Shifting Ceratops, 2 Veil of Summer, 1 Tybalt, 1 Cindervines, 1 Bolt Bend, 2 Flame Sweep, 1 Oakham Adversary, 1 Sorcerer's Spyglass, and 1 Collision Colossus. What sounds good to you?
Well, I mentioned haste before, so the Shifting Ceratops do get that keyword if you'd like to pay an extra mana, and that doesn't sound too bad. Veil of Summer's certainly a slam dunk here. Just gonna counter a Thought Erasure, draw a card. That just works every time. Let's see, what else do we have here? Spyglass is an option for Teferi, but I really don't think that that's the kind of access you want to try to fight
seems
on.
a little loose.
Yeah,
Cindervines. Potentially we're thinking about it. Kills Doom
Cindervines,
Foretold.
it kills Doom Foretold. It's going to deal a few damage over the course of the game, so I don't hate that one. That probably can come in also. And then I do think that the Domri is worth considering here.
Yeah, I would also look at the Tybalt potentially.
The Tybalt's definitely an option too. Just create some persistent threats, prevent a lot of the life gain that's going on.
Yeah. All right. So looks like he's definitely got some options. Let's take a look at James. James has 2 Disenchant, 1 Ashiok Dream Render, 2 Duress, 1 The Elder Spell, 2 Cry of the Carnarium, 1 Tail's End, 1 Unmoored Ego, 1 Negate, 1 Dovin's Veto, 1 Saheeli, 1 Legion's End, and 1 Deputy of Detention. What sounds good here?
What sounds good here is not having the card Dovin's Veto in my deck.
I tend to agree.
Which, unfortunately, it doesn't go much farther than that. I think that the extra Legion's End can certainly come in.
Yep.
The Deputy of Detention is probably worth it. But besides that, I'm really not sure that any of this is what you want. I mean, there's certainly things that you can choose. If you think that your opponent is going to be on more Planeswalkers post board or something like that, Tail's End's on the table. But I just don't think that that's anything you can or should assume. So it's possible that James might look to Saheeli just to give him some blockers. But
I don't hate the Saheeli.
Yeah, but the only problem is that so many of the creatures in Gruul have flying or trample or just really large.
whatever.
That it's hard for the 1/1s to get too much done on that front.
Yeah, they're probably just saving your life.
Yep. Similarly, like Cry of the Carnarium is not out of the question, but it
Probably
misses
just
so
too
many
small.
of the
I don't think it
creatures,
hits
yeah.
anything, right? Like it might hit like a Robber of the Rich, or like potentially a hasted Zertog Goblin, but that's probably it, right?
Yeah, it definitely depends what is
Yeah, and we didn't
what
see
is
either
in our
of those
opponent's
cards
deck,
from
and
Brett.
we don't actually know. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, given what we saw in game 1, that I think we can assume if you're going to put Arboro Grazer in your deck that you have a lot of the heavier stuff rather than some of the
you would
some of the
think,
smaller
yeah,
things.
you
So,
would think. All right, well, it looks like our players have decided. So let's go ahead and get ready for game number 2 here. James will be on the play down in game. Let's take a look at both players' opening 7s. See what we got. I see Doom Foretold, Dance the Mance, Teferi, Thought Erasure, Oath of Kaya, couple lands. Looks like a keep to me from James. Looks like Brett also kept his 7.
This time the Once Upon a Time's in the hand.
Yeah, don't have to worry about that one.
Right.
Just gonna have it. All right, let's take a look at the top 5. Looks like some lands and some spells. We'll see what Brett needs. See what his hand is missing.
Well, I don't see a lot of lands in Brett's hand, so it seems pretty likely to me that the
Stomping
ground
Ground.
is the one.
Yeah,
Yep,
that's
here we
kind of
go.
where I landed as well.
Give those a quick shuffle and pass it back.
Seems very likely, unless we have that legendary Arboreal
Ooh,
Grazer.
a Marauding Raptor.
Oh, we do.
Oh, and the
Hello,
Arboreal
hello.
Grazer. Let's go.
Running it up here, Brett. All right, Doom Foretold off the top for James. Here is Swamp into Thought Erasure on turn 2. Take a look at Brett's hand. It is Marauding Raptor, Voracious Hydra, Kenrith's Transformation. I believe that's a Castle Embereth, and Mountain and Arboreal Grazer. I think I missaw the Castle
One
Embereth.
thing I didn't mention in sideboarding is I do think you just wanted the Kenneth transformations out.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
I don't know.
They're reasonably good against Doom Foretold, but still.
Right.
You're basically playing your own eggs,
Exactly.
more or less. And, here we see Brett is going to potentially just be able to Kenrith's transformation his Arboreal Grazer or whatever and just get in there. And that doesn't sound too bad. Here's a land for Brett. We'll see what he wants to do. Most likely it's going to be Marauding Raptor. Kenrith's transformation, my 3/3.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, yeah. So he's going to draw a card, attack for 3. See if he has any other creatures he wants to cast. Looks like he will play another Arboreal Grazer. No land to put into play. Just a 1-mana 0/3. Give himself some protection against Doom Foretold in the future. Here's a Godless Shrine off the top for James. Looks like it'll be coming into play untapped. He'll take 2. I expect Teferi to come down. It will. Teferi bounce that Arboreal Grazer. That seems pretty good to me.
Yeah. This is another interaction that...
Not super happy about this Kenrith's transformation.
Yeah,
for.
exactly. And I guess you already got in your card, so it's not the end of the world. You're not expecting, like, instant speed removal to really mess it up or anything.
Definitely.
All right, so here comes the Marauding Raptor.
Yeah, let's see what else he can do. Of course, his creatures now cost 1 less, so he will be able to play a 3-mana creature here if he wants.
Yeah, I mean, you put this one in your deck to have some explosive turns, so...
Yeah, and we definitely saw some explosive turns out of Brett last week, but looks like Arboreal Grazer isn't quite the explosive turn we were hoping for.
Quite. One card that we didn't see in Game 1 was Kaya's Wrath.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
It's saying it's important in the matchup is kind of an understatement.
Yeah, no joke.
And the board, the way it's shaping up, looks like it's going to be ripe for Kaya's Wrath.
Yeah, of course. The basic island looks a little awkward as far as that Kaya's Wrath plan goes.
Well, the secret to Esper stacks is that you have all these mana rocks in your deck, these little eggs that make your mana better.
Definitely.
So, we totally actually could see a Kaya's Wrath next turn even without a land drop.
Yeah. All right, let's see what Brett wants to do. Looks like he drew... I think that's a Collision Colossus. But it could be the red-green rare split card.
Oh,
but I'm not sure what that is. So he looks like...
Can't quite see with the glare there.
Yeah.
Embercleave?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, all right.
Oh, boy. So here's the attack with everything. That makes a lot of sense as to why those lemurs are getting in there.
And I like this one because I was about to say that, we're now in that spot where, okay, well, if my opponent has Kaya's Wrath next turn, which it kind of looks like they might, do I really want to commit another creature? And Embercleave's a nice happy medium there where you don't really have to.
Yeah, we're still hitting our opponent for, 4 points of damage effectively.
Also,
and
I just want to bring up the... Oh, hold on a minute, actually. We've got the only problem here is that the Teferi actually prevents Embercleave from getting cast in combat.
Oh, you're right.
So we got an issue there we're going to have to correct somehow. Yeah, I think we've noticed that now.
Yeah, looks like... Alright, so it looks like probably we're going to have a judge intervene. So you're a judge. What would you do in this situation, given that we are at an FNM and all that?
So it's... It's hard to say right here. We passed a turn. So
at James drew a card plus his Teferi and passed.
Yeah, we are at regular rules enforcement level here. So, we have a number of options as to things we normally couldn't do. I think that the easiest way is probably to just put the Embercleave back in hand. We've passed the turn here, but that part of the situation we can certainly repair. The problem is... that takes away Brett's whole turn in a way that he wouldn't. He could have done something else with his mana, presumably. So that kind of feels bad too. So I don't think it would be out of the question to not change anything and just to make sure the players understand and move on. So it could go either way, and I would probably talk with the players and see what the communication was. But it seems like both of them clearly didn't notice and.
Yeah, I mean, neither of us noticed either, right?
Absolutely. We didn't notice till after the fact. Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see what it looks. We'll see what else or what the floor judge here decides to do in the situation. But I'm sure we'll get a ruling as soon as one has been determined. You see Brett, presumably, getting up and talking to him outside of the table or away from the table. Excuse me.
Yeah, that's the thing that could come up here for sure when taking this call is maybe talk to the player away from the table and say, hey, let's be honest. What did your turn look like otherwise? Right?
Yeah,
how bad do we feel here? And you know, at regular rules enforcement level, we're not looking to punish anybody. We're just trying to say like, hey, you know, this is easy to miss, but you know, we need to keep this in mind. Let's just fix it and move on, right?
Yeah, for sure. All right. So, looks like Brett has returned. We'll see what the ruling is here, hopefully soon. It looks like Embercleave will be going back into Brett's hand.
Back in hand, okay.
So, does that mean that James will be gaining 4 life? So, presumably James will be going back to 13. And we are probably still going to be in Brett's main phase, and he's probably just going to have basically a term skipped or whatever.
That's definitely what it looks like.
Yeah. Seems like a relatively clean fix.
Yep.
It's definitely not great for Brett, but, you know, he at the end of the day, he was the one at fault.
That was,
and,
you know, the mistake was on his end. Okay, so Dahmer here is not bad, though.
Dahmer quite good, yeah, for the same reason. Of course, now these Arboreal Grazers can get in because they have 1 power as well.
No, I mean, yeah, absolutely.
It's quite good.
Although, James is picking up his hand here, so, all right, there's the Kai's Wrath.
Yeah, go ahead and put an end to that. So Kai's Wrath will kill all the creatures post-combat. We'll see if Brett has anything he wants to play with his 2 mana, but looks like he just has a bunch of fat stuff in his hand. Skargan Hellkite and Collision Colossus, I believe, as well as that Embercleave, I believe.
And you know, we said it was important before. Just like that, this game's is very different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here's the Doom Foretold. We'll be able to take out Domri. Yikes.
Yeah, this Doom Foretold's real good here.
This one's kind of slipping away from Brett very quickly, I think. And, you know, like, it doesn't really feel like we can play a Skargan Hellkite here. I don't think we can try and fight this board state, really. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't, but at the same time, you know, like we were saying before, it's so hard to want to just give them a whole turn, and then they say, okay, I'm up on my mana, plus my Teferi. But I do think that, you know, with the composition of Brett's hand, as far as we can tell, I don't know how you're getting out from under it otherwise.
Yeah, I think a Gruul Spellbreaker was the draw for him there. So we could potentially haste a Gruul Spellbreaker at this Teferi. That's an option we have.
So yeah, that gets us out of the Teferi, but the Teferi's not really the chief among the problems here, right?
Yeah. So it looks like Brett does elect to just send the turn back. I think I agree with this choice from Brett.
Yeah, I think you just have to do it here.
Yeah, looks like James will probably just plus his Teferi, play a land tapped. We are 1 land away from that Dance X6, where everything gets oh so problematic. But for now, Brett still has some Sanctuary.
Passing the turn. Doom Foretold's out of here.
And get that Embercleave out of here.
Yeah, the Embercleave's gone.
It's not very good against Teferi.
No, it's not. All right, what we got?
This is Gruul Spellbreaker. Yes, it'll enter with a +1/+1 counter on it, and that's probably just going to be Brett's turn. Looks like it will be. James has a Temple, I believe. I believe that's Temple of Silence. So a little bit of missequencing from those lands there. I think James could have played Temple of Silence last turn and potentially shocked in a Watergrave this turn to have Dance X6 available on end step.
I also just like, you know, scrying ahead of time too.
Yeah, that too.
You have a pretty good idea of how the game's going to play out for them.
Absolutely, yeah. So, looks like he left the top card where it is, and we'll see what else he wants to do. He's got Teferi, so I'd be surprised to see anything now.
Yeah, you know, I think there's a Doom Foretold in this hand.
Oh, that could make sense.
I mean, the Murderous Rider, well, the Gruul Spellbreaker has Hexproof on Brett's turn, so actually, if you want to kill that, you kind of do need to do it now. You do need to do it now, yeah. So, a totally reasonable line would be...
Ooh, Teferi minus bounce my egg. Right. Draws Kai's Wrath. Looks like he's just going to replay his egg, hold up the Kai's Wrath here. Yeah, sure. We can't hold up the Kai's Wrath, of course, because we minused our Teferi.
That's true.
Here comes the Doom Foretold.
But yeah, that's totally fine too.
Yeah, that one will still deal with this Gruul Spellbreaker.
And the egg comes back down, so yeah, it's pretty hard to imagine Brett coming back from this position now.
Yeah, this one looks pretty over. But, you know, at least with this Esper Stacks deck, it is pretty good at turning that corner. It goes from control, dance the Mance, you're dead.
Yeah, it really does. We're not going to be here long.
Yeah. I expect James to untap, plus his Teferi, say go, and then, you know, that'll just be the end of that, you know?
Yep.
We'll see what Brett wants to do. Of course, Brett doesn't have the bad news that we have yet. Brett doesn't know just quite how dead he really is.
It's if I'm sitting in Brett's seat though, it's still pretty hard to imagine. How many cards do you have?
Yeah,
5,
Scry top, Fairy bounce my egg.
Even if they're not Dance of the Manse here, it's hard
Hard
there's
to
still
imagine.
a Doom Foretold on the table.
Yikes, just jam the Skargan Hellkite.
Yeah, taking out the Teferi. I mean, sure.
Guess we gotta do what we gotta do. Now, all this means is that Brett will get the bad news earlier. It means that James is probably just gonna be inclined to main phase this. Interesting point there. James theoretically could have sacrificed his Doom Foretold to get it back as a 4/4, as opposed to the egg.
Well, the only thing with that, I don't think you actually want the Doom Foretold to be a 4/4 in particular. I think you'd much rather have the egg be the one. And
Well, they can both be, because you can just sacrifice the egg for free.
Oh,
you can always cycle
that's
one
fair.
mana
Yeah, I
through
was
it.
thinking. I was probably remembering last game. I was thinking he had a lot more targets in the graveyard, but at only 3 targets, actually, that could have been pretty important.
Yeah, because you can end up with that extra Doom Foretold just as a 4/4
Yeah,
here.
absolutely.
And obviously that's better than it not being a 4/4.
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah, so.
Nonetheless, here we've got 3 4/4s. The Doom Foretold's back. Actually,
Yeah.
there's two Doom Foretolds now.
Yeah, so it actually doesn't quite matter, because as long as James orders his triggers correctly, he will have to sacrifice one of the
Yep.
Doom Foretold, so it doesn't even matter if one of them isn't a 4/4,
No,
because it would
absolutely,
have to
no.
get sacrificed anyway. But,
For sure.
we're talking about the minor stuff here, so. James has
with
3
an
Oath of Kai's in his hand.
I think Brett is just dead.
He has 3 of them, yeah. And Brett's really dead. Of course, James will have to sacrifice one of his 4/4s on his upkeep to his own Doom Foretold.
Yes, but I think even just one of Kai's.
Yeah, it'll be Plining, I think.
It depends what this creature is, I suppose.
Yeah, could be some. Oakham Adversary is not it.
No, that blocks 1, but
Well, that one dies to Doom Foretold, that's for sure. All right, looks like Doom Foretold will
It doesn't
hit.
if Doom
Sorry,
Foretold's in the graveyard.
dies to Oath of Kai,
That's
excuse
true,
me.
That's true.
Oh, we're attacking first?
Just rolling in the 4/4s.
As opposed to...
Yeah, I'm not in love with this play.
Yeah, I whatever. I mean, your opponent's dead, right?
Yeah,
like
I do
he's
think
taking 8, and then we'll just
Yeah.
send some lightning helixes upstairs, right?
Oh, I see. We made this attack so that we could need to play all of them, right?
Yeah, whatever. Like, yeah, he's
just
upstairs. Yeah,
rolls them out one at a
upstairs.
time.
Whatever.
Perfect cadence.
Yeah, this one, and this one, and this one, and you're dead.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so now we'll see game 3 where Brett will be on the play. That's a pretty big difference in this
It's
matchup.
huge. It's massive.
Yeah, being able to really put James's life total under threat before he has access to those cards like Kai's Wrath or whatever, super, super important, especially if you see James playing cards like, Basic Island or whatever. If you don't have those eggs or the Guild Globes to filter your mana, every time you play Basic Island, it takes Kai's Wrath back a turn.
Right, exactly. And it doesn't happen very often, but it happens. And it's going to lose you the game a pretty
An amount of the time,
it happens,
for sure. And it's not like the deck does actually play quite a few Basic Islands, and you often find yourself getting them whenever you have Fabled Passage or whatever, because sometimes you just need your blue spell.
Absolutely.
You want to play Thought Erasure on 2 or whatever. All right, so
do we change anything before game 3?
well, I think I saw a Collision Colossus in Brett's hand, and I'm off that.
Yeah, my position is one of the best ways to be able to play the how do I not overcommit to a Wrath game is to not have cards in your deck that require creatures to be in play. So that's where I'm at on not wanting the Kenris transformation in my deck. That's where I'm at in not wanting Embercleave or Collision Colossus in my deck.
Yeah.
I want all of my cards to be cards that I can attack you with, not ones that make my attackers better.
Absolutely.
With that said, I do like Colossus better among those cards because it's cheap, it's fast. You're going to be able to in most games at some point
A nice 4 damage.
just convert it into 4 damage right to the dome. So
All right, so here is the opening 7 here for both players. We've got Stomping Ground, and I think that's the only land in hand for Brett, but it looks like both players keeping their 7.
I
Brett-
saw an Oath of Kaya in James' hand, so if that hand has lands, I imagine we're keeping it.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. Looks like some eggs, Fabled Passage as well. So, yeah, that hand looks pretty good from James. I think we're lacking any of the real big haymakers in the matchup. Kai's Wrath, Doom Foretold.
That's totally fine for an opening hand from Esper Stacks.
Definitely.
You're going to find
plenty
them.
of cycles, plenty of looks.
You almost don't even want them in the opening hand.
Yeah, no joke. All right, so Here comes Mountain off the Once Upon a Time for Brett. I expect us to see a stomping ground here.
We just got told. Brett says, "How greedy should I be? I wasn't lucky, so should I be greedy?"
Definitely. Definitely. You have to be.
You have to check all the angles when you consider whether to keep these kind of hands.
Definitely. All right, so here's Temple of Silence from James on the first turn of the game. He'll leave his card on top. Gruul Spellbreaker was the draw there.
Ooh, nothing on turn 1, nothing on turn 2.
It's not good. Kaya's Wrath for James. That is good.
Yeah. This is not how you want to start the game.
Yeah, this is not the winning recipe, I don't think. Well, here comes presumably a Gruul Spellbreaker. Indeed it is.
Counter's pretty important here.
Yep. Counter seems quite good. It gets it out of range of Oath of Kaya, and that's very important.
Unfortunately, it doesn't get it out of range of Murderous Rider.
But nothing can. Yeah, nothing does. So, you do what you can for as long as you can, but you can't expect everything to go perfectly.
James content here, though, to just draw a card, probably deploy another land.
Yeah, just a nice tapped Watery Grave. No reason to shock yourself later. Planar Cleansing in hand for James as well. You see basic planes, Oath of Kaya, Kaya's Wrath.
All right, but here's the beatdowns.
Here's beats. That's 8. That's a lot. James at 12 already. He's going to feel probably pressured into just casting this Kaya's Wrath right now.
We can't get this Kaya's Wrath out fast enough.
Yeah. Not to mention, I believe he drew a second copy off the top there. So you don't even feel bad about snapping off. Yeah. All right. Looks like here's another questing beast. All right, a few more of those, and we're gonna be done here. So James down to 8.
Yeah, the 4/4 haste counter is at 2 now.
Yeah, which is probably Brett's best path to victory against this deck.
Absolutely.
James probably gonna swift end this.
Doom Foretold, nice.
Doom Foretold will do a good job though. That'll clean that one up, no problem. There goes the bestest quest. Stomping Ground off the top for Brett. Let's see what else he's got. Kenrith's Transformation in hand.
Yeah, and this is a great example of where Kenrith's Transformation is good against Doom Foretold till it's not.
Yeah, it's just dead. Just dead right now. So here is a tapped Stomping Ground.
The good news for Brett, though, is that while James is, we keep talking about this game being over in 2 or 3 turns because James is on such a clock. I mean, Brett does have some time.
Gruul Spellbreaker here from Brett. Get a tank on the counter. Looks like he is going to give it the +1/+1 counter.
All right, and Transformation to keep it alive.
Yeah, kind of Transformation. Go ahead and draw a card.
But I feel like this...
Embercleave. Hello.
Embercleave's still in the deck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't help the feeling that this Murderous Rider is going to just break us all up.
Yeah, I think that's very likely.
Still a 4/4, doesn't have trample anymore.
Yep.
Importantly, also, is not X-proof on Brett's turn anymore.
Also true.
That matters for several different reasons.
Yeah, also true. All right, here's the top card of the deck for James. It's Teferi, Time Raveler. Looks like a Thought Eraser in hand as well for James. I'm a pretty big fan of Teferi Thought Eraser here. How about you?
So we have a few options, right? Because we can start on Thought Erasure, and then we still have the Murderous Rider handy if we want it.
I don't think James has another land.
The only question with Teferi is what exactly are we going to do with it?
I'm pretty inclined to just bounce.
Bounce the Kenrith's Transformation, I suppose?
Just the creature.
Well, the problem is the creature comes right back with haste, right?
Well, we can Thought Erasure it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You want a Teferi and then take the creature with the Thought Erasure? That makes sense.
Presumably, unless there's something better, odds are there won't be.
Sure.
And then, your opponent's going to have 2 cards in hand, one after the activation of Doom Foretold on their turn,
the other
and then
thing
the top
I like
card
about
of the
that,
deck.
over like this line, for example, is that, you get to keep the Doom Foretold doing what you want it to do rather than...
Yeah, definitely.
And he ended up at a position where this was the case anyway, but you definitely don't want the Doom Foretold to just get sacrificed on your turn.
Yeah. Brett here ends up Hellbent after the Doom Foretold activation. Here's Oakham Adversary off the top, but Brett now just playing off the top. James still missing land drops. I believe Wishcoin Talisman, the draw there. I expect to see an Oath of Kaya here, indeed. James will go up to 11, Brett down to 16 from the attack from the 2/2.
If you bet, you could feel this one kind of starting to get out of hand.
Yeah, this one doesn't feel particularly winnable anymore. Here's the land. James will go ahead and play that for turn. Top card. We need good ones. So looks like
pass the
if we're
turn back.
passing the turn back, it is not a good one.
No.
I don't know what it is, but it can't be a good one. Veil of Summer.
Well, that is a surprisingly good one for passing the turn
Yeah,
back,
as far as
but-
usually it's a land there. But,
Yeah.
So that's how you really get them with the Cryptic Command. All right, here's another egg from James. Let's see what the top card is. Appears to be another copy of Teferi Time Raveler. I mean, at this point, we're just on playing Burn 'em Out with Oath of Kaya.
Pretty close.
It sounds like, at least.
Ooh.
Pick up the egg.
I think we wanted to cast Veil of Summer in response to that Teferi, because I'm probably not going to have another opportunity now.
Yeah, that's the end of our options to be able to do that. So here comes, I believe that's a Gruul Spellbreaker off the top. Another one of those.
I mean, that's not a bad one.
Yeah, it's not at all. Haste is pretty
That one
nice.
plays.
Maybe we'll be able to get rid of that Teferi here if we just give it haste and just, of course we're gonna have to take the two.
That's the trouble.
Yeah, just get. But we do need to turn on the Veil of Summer in our hand, right?
James, absolutely. Turning on the Veil of Summer here is huge because I don't see how we're getting out of this one without that.
Yeah, with the dead
being
card in
pretty
our
good.
hand. Yeah, it's gonna be rough. James, I think still has that second copy of Kaya's Wrath in his hand. Hasn't needed it all game.
No, of course not.
Here is Teferi on the stack.
no.
I expect Veil of Summer to just get cycled in response.
The Veil of Summer is actually surprisingly good here because the Oath of Kaya can't come back down and kill the Gruul Spellbreaker now.
Yeah, actually pretty relevant. And, does get to cycle.
Yep, get to draw the card anyhow. That said,
Is that another Gruul Spellbreaker?
James has the pretty easy line here of, all right, just put my Murderous Rider and play go.
Yeah. I mean, how bad can that be, right?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
get to attack for 2 as well.
Yep.
Brett all the way down to 10 now. James kind of feels like the aggro here. And with all this burn...
I mean, look at the life totals.
Yeah. I mean, with all this burn that James just has in his hand, with all of the Teferis and the Oath of Kayas, Brett's really not working with as much life as he thinks he is here. He's
it's true.
quite close to that, actually. So if he makes a few more aggressively slanted attacks, he could end up in trouble.
That is another reason I would have liked to see
Cindervines, the draw.
the 2/3 come out.
Yeah, I would have liked the 2/3 as well, I think.
Just because, next turn, if your play becomes, Oath of Kayak or Gruul Spellbreaker, suddenly we're attacking for 4, and that increases the clock quite a bit.
Yeah, that's quite important. Putting him down to 6 when we have, burn increments of 3.
Right, of course.
Quite relevant.
So the nice thing here is if Teferi wants to bounce the Oath of Kaya, you can actually just Cindervines it and just shut that.
Yeah, shut that engine. Stop that right away.
Yep.
Okay, so here is what looks to be Wishclaw Talisman from James.
I like this one.
James will take a point of damage down to 9 from the Cindervines.
Good old demonic tutor.
Yep. And of course, with the Teferi in play means that, well, James is just going to be able to pick the Wishclaw Talisman right back up after we tutor with it.
Yep.
You can just go find more burn spells, right? Start pointing them upstairs.
That's,
go get our
this
Oath
is
of
another one
Kayas.
Cindervines can kind of take care of, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, not really, right? Like, James will activate it, and then
He'll
it'll
get the
put to you.
demonic tutor, but at least he won't be picking it back up, drawing cards, all this other stuff.
But it feels bad destroying your own demonic tutor.
Oh,
you
it
know?
does, but I mean, it's
that's
not
the key.
yours,
It's
right?
it's never your own demonic tutor. It never is.
That is the way the Wishclaw Talisman works.
Yeah. Your opponent, technically gives it to you, but boy, is it technically. You never get to untap with that thing. All right, so it looks like Teferi will...
We managed to get it back in our hand, all right.
Yeah, it looks like the Cindervine's not activated. Another Oath of Kaya.
Oh, gosh.
Yikes. Yeah, I think we're starting playing Burn 'em Out here.
Yes, roll it in.
All right, so James will take 1 point of damage from the Cindervine, so he'll go to
The rolling
12
bombardment
here.
coming in here.
And attack for 2, presumably, from the Knight. We'll put Brett down to 8. And then we'll probably just see the turn get sent right on back to Brett. Doesn't look like James has anything else relevant to do.
Yeah, sure, you figure it out.
Yeah, I think that's a land. That ain't it.
Well, Brett doesn't know that he's dead.
But I believe he is dead.
I guess I actually shouldn't say that Brett doesn't know he's dead. There's a Wishclaw Talisman in play.
He knows
Almost
he's
assured
dead.
that you're
He's
dead
got to
when
be
that's-
dead. Yeah,
that's-
he's got to be dead. So here comes Oath of Kaya, or tutor for an Oath of Kaya, whatever.
Yep.
I'm sure James can find lethal here with a demonic tutor and, already having 3 damage in
And
hand.
even if that's not true, you're not winning.
Yeah, definitely. All right, James kind of just going through the motions here, thinking about all of his best lines for killing him. What do you think the most stylish kill is here?
Well,
If you're trying to really flex on your opponent,
I
what's
think
the line?
it's pretty valid to think a little bit and make sure you're not messing anything up. But it is, your opponent has no cards. You have to just vary. It's pretty hard to mess up.
If you're putting lethal on the stack, it's
so. Let's see here. I mean, we're effectively just killing our opponents with Oath of Kai one way or another.
Yeah.
So the question is, can we do anything, more impressive? I don't really think there's much.
That's too bad.
That's
too bad.
If you have a land and a dance here, you can play the land and then dance
the Oath of Kai back. That seems more stylish, yeah. Oh, we sent the turn back to Brett? Oh, no.
Is there another Oath of Kai in hand? I mean, is there not? Maybe that's...
It doesn't matter. We have a Wishclaw Talisman. We can go find one.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. All right, but...
We're activating Cindervines now?
I'm not sure. Oh, it looks like we're Cindervining.
I'm a little confused.
Yeah, I think slight players are catching up on sequencing a little bit here. Arboreal Grazer right on time. Looks like the players are figuring it out.
Getting the life totals caught up with the Cindervines activation.
It looks like the game... James thought the game was over, but it's not actually. So it looks like James just had a wrong life total calculation there.
Oh, I see. That
so it looks like James just thought...
Sure, there's missed 3 damage. Or
yeah,
thought
it
there
just,
was 3 extra damage
just had a slight difference in life totals. But regardless, James will be taking the match. So Congratulations to James. A nice 2-1, taking down Gruul Aggro in the first round. And with that, we are going to take a moment to thank our sponsors for the night. Our first sponsor. Our first sponsor is Tabletop. Oh, we're taking Advancify first. Okay, Tabletop. Tabletop it is. All right. Tabletop is a board game apparel clothing brand. If you are interested in anything board game apparel related, if you like board games, anything like that, I like board games. You like board games, then you are going to love Tabletop. They have excellent material. All of their clothes are very soft, definitely not cheap at all. The material is excellent, and I highly recommend that you check out Tabletop. I would also like to mention that if you are enjoying the stream, please go ahead and share, give it a follow, get some extra people in here, and we will be back with round number 2. We'll leave you with some capacity, and make sure not to go anywhere. Hello everybody and welcome back to round number 2. For this match we have Gavin playing a little bit of blue-white control up against Axton playing red-black aggro.
Classic match.
Yeah, doesn't get any more classic than this. I do believe that both players know what the other player is playing, so Gavin astutely mulligans that hand with disdainful stroke in it. Ugh. Yuck.
Don't want to counter a rankle?
Yeah, I do, but not that bad. Alright, so Gavin taking a quick mulligan. Looks like Axton probably content with his hand, given that,
Do the creatures in this
just
hand
sitting there.
attack my opponent?
Yeah, does my hand have lands and spells? Keep.
That's right.
Yeah. It's a pretty common go-to. So here is 7 new cards from Gavin.
Looked like a lot of lands in that one.
Yeah, I think I see... I can't really see anything. I see some Fabled Passages and some lands, but that's really all I've got. Alright, looks like there's the handshake. And let's see how this all starts to go. We've got
Axton on the play as well.
Yeah, Swamp into Gutter Bones
Oh,
for
yeah.
Axton. Hallowed Fountain tapped for Gavin. Let's see what Axton has to follow up with. Is that a Stormfist Crusader? That's a pretty good one.
Oh,
Robber
yeah.
of the Rich.
Ooh,
Hello.
It just
Uh-oh.
keeps getting better.
Gavin might be getting smoked this game. Alright, so top card gets exiled. Is that Glass Casket? Was that what that was? I didn't get a very good look at it. A little bit of glare
Axton
there.
certainly doesn't want Gavin drawing that card.
Yeah, but he's probably not casting it anytime soon either, so whatever, get it off the top of his deck. Let's see what Axton finds. Looks like another Gutter Bones. I think he's missing his third land, but yeah, whatever.
Who needs it?
Yep, here's an attack for 4 to Ferry, the card exiled to Robber of the Rich.
That one's good.
Yeah, great, actually. All right. Oh, Blood
We
Crypt.
do have the third land.
Oh, boy.
Let's go.
Down to 18. Here's Spawn of Mayhem.
Oh, baby.
Gavin, no
This game might just be
effects,
over.
and takes a draw. Oh, boy. You ever want to sign up for Blue Eye Control for a tournament and just get...
Not like this. We're done here.
We're done here. Well, that was easy.
Wow.
Oh, boy, that was a nice break from
was,
all those grindy
yeah.
games last round, huh? All right, let's take a look at these sideboards. Let's start with Axton. He's got 1 Disfigure, 3 Duress, 3 Noxious Grasp, 3 Experimental Frenzy, 3 Legion's End, and 2 Lava Coil. What sounds good here?
Okay, well, let's take a deep breath real quick here.
Yeah.
So
Slow down.
The duress is definitely on the table. Experimental frenzy is definitely a thing you could cast. That's about it. Noxious Grasp kills like Teferi or something like that. I don't
Probably not good.
Nah, I don't think that's the game you're playing.
Yeah.
So the duresses are certainly an option. Probably come in, and the experimental frenzies are a slam dunk.
Yep, I tend to agree. So we're probably bringing in those 6, and we'll find some stuff to try.
Yeah. It might even be less if you don't have much to take out.
Definitely. Meanwhile, on Gavin's side, we have 1 Realm-Cloaked Giant, 2 Sorcerer's Spyglass, 2 Narset Parter of Veils, 3 Aethergust, 3 Glass Casket, 1 Disdainful Stroke, and 1 Devout Decree. What sounds good here?
Get these glass caskets in here.
Oh, yeah.
Those are just clearly all coming in. The Devout Decree is certainly going in also.
Absolutely.
The Aether Gust is, it's not great. You can certainly get a creature off the board for a minute with it, but I think the Gusts can probably stay home.
Yeah, unless you have a lot of cards
you'd
you need
have
to be taking out, like, I don't know, Disdainful Stroke or whatever.
Mm-hmm, yeah, and
unless
honestly,
you're showing up with a lot of those.
Well, no, and honestly, if you think your opponent's going to bring Experimental Frenzy in, Disdainful Stroke starts to have text.
Definitely true. Definitely true.
But I have a hard time believing that we have so many cards to take out that we want either Gusts in the deck.
I imagine the deck also has other answers to Experimental Frenzy.
Right.
Teferi can
Hopefully.
bounce it, and then you can counter it on the way back down, or any other types of answers. It is a blue-white control deck. They usually have answers to things like these, whether
Absolutely.
they be planar cleansing or whatever.
Yeah.
So we'll see Gavin on the play for game number 2. Maybe we'll get a little bit of a longer game.
Also, the Realm Cloak Giant is certainly on the table.
Yes, absolutely. I would expect to see that one come in.
All right, well, we're going to 6 again. This could be a quick one.
Looks like Axton's keeping his hand again.
Does it? We said before, do I have lands and spells? Do they attack my opponent?
Yeah.
It really isn't much more complicated than that.
do I have lands and spells? Do these lands cast my spells?
We've heard from from Brad that the table's actually on the Realm Cloak Giant, not the other way around.
Well, that makes sense. Actually, that does make any sense, but
it would be pretty unfortunate if we had a Realm Cloaked Giant on our table. I don't think we could even play this match.
You could play on like his shoulder or something.
Right, but not on the table.
Yeah, definitely.
And you never know when he's just going to cast you right off. Gavin could probably use that to happen, though.
Yeah, no joke. All right, so it looks like Gavin will keep his 6. Found a card he's happy with setting on the bottom. Here comes Swamp and Knight of the Ebon Legion from Axton. This is usually this deck's best start. Turn 1 Knight of the Ebon Legion. If you manage to find an aggressive turn 2 and 3, you can end up putting counters on it. And it's just a really hard card for any deck to block effectively, especially as it goes on. I don't think Gavin's ever going to be planning on blocking it, but still.
Yeah, I actually, in this matchup, probably Gutterbones is the one you'd rather have, both because it's a little more resilient to Wraths and that kind of thing, and also just has 2 power.
Yeah.
But, in this case, Glass Casket was going to get you either way.
They both get exiled. Oh, speaking of Gutterbones, right on time.
I wonder, actually, if...
Duress.
Okay, so they're starting with Duress.
Castle Vantress, Brazen Borrower, Fabled Passage, and Realm Cloak Giant. That's a lot of spells that don't get hit by Duress there.
That's, yeah.
Yeah, that one's pretty rough, but... Of course, Gavin's hand doesn't really do anything for the next couple turns.
I mean, I don't know. Like, Petty Theft is a good start.
It is.
Just get the next play off the table. And
gonna need to bridge the gap to Realm Cloak Giant, I think, is the plan here.
Yeah, but I think Brazen Borrower actually does that quite nicely.
It does, absolutely. Gavin will need to find some more threats, though, if he wants to. Or some more answers. If he wants to get there successfully. And Prison Realm does the trick, too. Yeah. Get that Gutterbones out of here forever. Here's the top card from Axton. It's another Swamp. Axton has another Duress in his hand. I'd be surprised if he fired that one off, given that, he knows there's no target.
Yeah, he's got Duress, no red mana.
Sinister Sabotage was the draw.
This one's getting out of hand pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Axton's got a couple of uncastables.
Yeah, and here's the problem we see with these black-red aggressive decks. They just don't have the mana to support.
Yeah, 2-color aggro in this format, the mana is quite bad.
Yeah, like... You only have Blood Crypt and Fabled Passage.
Oh, the 4th Swamp.
As your real lands that can actually cast both colors of spells. Yep. And, Fabled Passage can only do that once or whatever, right? Like, it does have to make a decision eventually.
Axton's going to run out of the rest here. Gavin says, sure, here's my...
Take the Sinister Sabotage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. That is, of course,
And
the only
Axton,
target.
I guess we're playing Murder Strider.
Yeah, 2-3. Yeah, I'm into that.
It's on the board.
What happened to the Sinister Sabotage in Gavin's hand?
Did he have 2 maybe? I did see it leave his hand. I don't know what happened.
Oh,
since
okay.
then.
He must have had 2 then. That makes sense. I must have missed that. Excellent. So Gavin just, lets Axton take one of the Sinister Sabotages and wants to be able to hold one up.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd be surprised if Gavin Sinister sabotaged a 2-3 with lifelink.
That seems completely unnecessary.
Yeah. We're at 20 here. Let's calm
You
down.
can even petty theft it here if you really want. Like, I don't think any of that's necessary.
Yeah, whatever.
Are you going to counter it? Okay, so we're actually this Murder Strider's still in the stack right now. We're thinking about whether to sabotage it.
Yeah. Like I said, I'd be kind of surprised if
too.
Gavin just snapped it off, but
Me too, but
it doesn't sound like the worst thing ever, but it just seems unnecessary.
Yep.
Oh, looks like Gavin will go ahead and Sinister Sabotage the Murderous Rider. Just wants to have just no pressure so that he can end up just turning the corner here.
well, and if you feel like your opponent's, getting off to a little slower start, it can make sense.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
Because
Yeah,
here,
there's
for
Swamp.
example, okay, his follow-ups to Fairy, right? Like, ooh, we did bring in Noxious Grasp.
Okay. All right, well, here is a Hallowed Fountain. He'll take 2, will Gavin. Presumably Gavin will just send the turn back.
Might be time to get that Brazen Bar in.
Yeah, I think it's time to start beating, to be honest. Axton more castable spells, so here's just
we're just
a
activating
Scry
Castle
2.
Vantress, sure.
Yeah, I buy that. Looks like another Brazen Borrower and a land.
Yeah, Gavin hasn't quite found, a tool to kind of get ahead. Right now he's certainly answered all the threats. Gaxton's got some mana issues, not anything really attacking. And generally that'll favor Gavin, but nothing is gaining him a persistent advantage right now except for the Castle Vantress, which, it matters, but it's pretty minor, all things considered.
I expect a land to go on top of Gavin's deck here and him to just cast a 7/7 with Vigilance. And I expect that to kind of just end
that
the
sounds
game.
pretty good.
But it looks like Gavin's going to hold out for a little longer. Ooh, Blood Crypt. All right.
I think it's kind of until your opponent, requires you to do something wild.
Yeah. And now Axton's hand will turn online. We'll see what spell he wants to lead with.
He's got a few options.
Robber of the Rich. Unfortunately, he has more cards in hand than his blue-eye control opponent on turn 8 or whatever this is. You hate to be there. I mean, you don't, but you do.
Yeah. You hate to be there because of this situation where you just haven't cast them. Your opponent's at 19.
Yeah. Looks like he just said go.
Just passing it back.
And
we have a Castle Ardenvale
Gavin
here too.
just made a 1/1. All right, so we'll
We're gonna
stomp.
the 1/1.
Looks like that was Stomp You, if I'm reading that motion correctly. It looks like it
no,
was.
I think the 1/1 left the board.
We'll have to get it.
Yeah, we'll have to find out.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if Gavin cared about either, to be honest.
No.
Here is Robber of the Rich. Here is another Robber of the Rich.
Okay.
Now we're talking.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Let's see what we find. Shall we? See if Gavin wants to allow either...
Petty Theft is actually incredible in this situation.
Yeah, he can prevent Axton from going to combat here. Looks like he's just going to
Incredible.
send them both back.
All right.
And then we can also
cast one.
cast one. Well, not if we tap like that, we
Yeah,
can't.
the mana's not perfect here.
Yeah. We could cast one if we had tapped better, but we didn't. Oh, okay. Just get a quick fix
Okay,
there.
yeah, found that one.
Yep. Figured that out. End step, we'll
Here it
cast our
comes.
1 blue and blue spell. Here's a 3/1 flyer. Time to start attacking, I think.
Clock's ticking.
Here's another land. Gavin will attack for 4.
All right.
Put Axton down to 14. And yeah, now Gavin's pretty solidly winning this race. There's another Noxious Grasp off the top for Axton.
See, that
Here.
doesn't quite do it here.
Yeah, here are both.
I wonder, I might have liked to see Gavin actually not attack with the 1/1, just leave it up to double block these 2/2s.
Yeah, I kind of into that as well. So we'll see what's going on here now. 2 cards in hand for Axton, and I believe 2 cards in hand for Gavin, so no Robber of the Rich triggers, unfortunately.
Gavin's just going to town here.
Yeah, just going to go ahead and take the 4, and then go ahead and activate his Castle Vantress to scry 2.
All right.
Bottom and bottom for him. Yeah, we've just got a lot of damage here. Looks like here's an attack for 6 in the air. Yeah. Say, Axton, all right, you're dead next turn. Go ahead.
Figure it out.
Gavin doesn't even feel pressured to casting either half of his giant that Axton still knows about.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
it's still there.
Yeah, like what are you gonna do? It's like, all right, well, I'll deal with this board and then get my entire board wrathed and have to beat a 7/7. You know, just doesn't feel particularly doable at any point.
Let's see,
Fervent Champion from Axton.
Yeah, I mean it attacks.
It does.
That's about it.
No knights in play, so no synergies going on there.
Only days here. So we're trying to noxious we're noxious grasping the 1/1.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, going up to 7.
Yeah, puts us to not dead on board. That is an upgrade. And I'm not certain what that card is.
Yeah,
I think it might be Stormfist Crusader.
That puts us back to dead on board.
Yeah.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. It is Stormfist Crusader. We did get that confirmation.
Interesting.
So now we have Robber of the Rich triggers.
Hold on. Robber of the Rich has reach.
It does.
That's Robber of the Reach to you.
True.
And that's pretty important here.
All right. Scry 2 with Castle Vantress in response to the Robber of the Rich trigger. That's pretty sick.
Yeah, all right.
Go ahead and stack a land on top and then just accidental exile it for you.
All right, well, Axton's actually not dead. Gavin's got to get this. Gavin maybe didn't catch that one. That was the attack of a man who thought the game was over.
Yeah, no joke. Especially because I think he had an Aether Gust in hand, so he definitely could have won the game there.
Oh, is that it? No, I think that's Gadwick, isn't it?
That could be.
Time
Looks
to
like
cast
here
off.
is cast off. Get rid of everything. That giant will go out on an adventure. And
Gavin
send
says,
the
well,
turn
enough
back.
of all that.
Yep. Good talk. Hopefully you can beat this 7/7. And I don't think Axton
I
can.
actually, given that he knows about the cast off, I would have liked to see Axton cast the giant he had in exile last turn.
Oh,
So
yeah,
he had something left
definitely.
over.
Yeah, that seems quite good, actually. Although he did need to get cards out of his hand for the
That's
for
true,
the Robber of
but
the Rich trigger.
especially if you know your opponent has Vantress, I don't think. You wanna
Yeah,
put too
you're
much stock
probably
in all
not
that.
getting anything good anyway. So here is Gadwick drawing 6
Yeah,
cards.
Gadrick's draw 6 ain't bad.
It's better than not bad. I'm willing to say. It seems pretty decent to me. I'm a little surprised we're still playing this game, to be honest, but here we are. Time wipe.
Oh, time wipe.
That's some value.
The
Time
womp.
wipe, pick up my Gadwick.
The
Hello.
Wombo combo.
Gadwick, quite good. Green Sun Zenith on a 3/3, or Blue Sun Zenith on a 3/3, excuse me. That's very powerful. And of course, if Gavin just plays a blue spell here, he just gets to attack Axton down to 1.
Yeah, a little dangerous because I think that he takes 2 to do that. And I don't know how super aggressive you need to get here when you've just drawn 6.
You really don't, but assuming you have any way to deal with, this this Bone Crusher Giant on Axton's turn again, you should be okay. Just casting a Chemistry's Insight or whatever.
All roads do
does it
sort of
plenty.
lead to Rome for Axton.
Yeah, so it looks like here is Teferi. Tap it with Gadwick. Teferi looks like it will uptick.
I believe Teferi's bouncing the giant.
I think Gadwick just tapped it. I'd be surprised if Teferi bounced it.
Okay.
It doesn't really make much sense.
That's
I don't
fair.
think you really want to give your opponent
No,
back
that's
stomp.
true. That's true.
But perhaps it will do that
Could bounce
post-combat. Value. Looks like that is a Teferi uptick.
He's thinking about what exactly he'd like to do here. Yep.
Yeah,
Teferi
looks
goes
like
up, past
Send the
turn.
turn back. We have this time wipe at instant speed, so nothing can go too wrong. Here's another Castle Vantress.
It's a rough spot. Yeah, you're kind of wondering. Yeah, okay, we're done here.
And we're done here. So that will be game number 2. So we've seen 2 games that have very much gone in each player's direction. One where Axton didn't do really anything relevant, one where Gavin didn't do really anything relevant, but now with Axton on the play for game number 3, you can't help but feel like he's got to be a favorite in this match.
Yep. I mean, really, all Axton needs to do is exactly what happened in game 1, right? Just get out
1
on
drop,
the
2 drop,
board.
3 drop. Yep.
And that didn't happen at all this game.
Hopefully, don't have mana problems this time.
Sure. Those Noxus Grasps,
Questionable.
I can't think of what would have happened if... I can't help but think about what would have happened if they were threats, right?
Yeah, they probably would have got cast off sooner.
Mm-hmm.
but still,
you have to pass the cast-off test eventually.
Yeah, but still.
It's a card that's going to get cast.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Which, is realistically probably what would have happened. But that's quite relevant. Gavin just ended up with a random Teferi at 1 loyalty or whatever.
Right.
It already did its job. Not to mention that it then got a card out of Axton's hand. You're ecstatic with that Teferi if you're Gavin. And I can't help but wonder, what didn't come in instead of...
what went out. Yeah. What were those cards going to be otherwise?
Are these not experimental frenzies? Are these not duresses? We did see some duresses, but
sure.
Did we cut all of our, gutter bones or whatever? That doesn't seem like where we want to be. We do want to keep our curve nice and low. Perhaps Rankle came out for them, but even then, you
Rankle
just...
has haste.
Yeah, Rankle has haste. He costs 4 mana, but he does have haste.
Kills Rumcloak Giant.
Yeah. Alright, so... Looks like Axton will likely be keeping his hand. I see lands and spells. And I believe he has both colors of mana, so that's pretty relevant.
Yeah, both colors is the subtle but important.
Kind of the key here, yeah. Looks like both players keeping their opening 7. Gavin will take a draw. Looks like Axton doesn't have a 1-drop. Pretty important there, but he does have Robber of the Rich and will get a trigger.
Got some action in the 2-drop spot.
Yeah. Attack 4/2. Here's a trigger. It'll exile a land. Tranquil Cove is not a good one. That land sucks. But you got to do what you got to do. If you need your blue and white lands and you're playing control, whatever, put your tap lands in your deck. Grumble, grumble.
Yep.
Here is, I believe, another Robber of the Rich from Axton.
Quite see what's going on the board here.
Yeah, but it looks like Gavin's getting beat down pretty hard. I think Gavin already down to 14. Will have taken 6 from these 2 Robber of the Riches. And of course, if he Axton attacks next turn, he could cast Gavin's Teferi. That's a big game.
We said in game 1 when he flipped it to Teferi, hey, that one matters, and it really does.
Yeah, if Axton could put Teferi into play under his control, that's huge. And it looks like he's going to be able to, as Gavin taps out for a Teferi of his own.
Does he have 5 mana to redeploy the Robber, though?
He has 2 in play.
There's 2 of them in play.
2 Robbers, correct. So he can, attack with the Robber, kill the Teferi, and cast a Teferi.
Yeah, that's a good turn.
That's a real good turn. So we'll see if that is what Axton elects to do.
He's got a Stormfist Crusader in his hand as well.
Looks like he elected to just redeploy the Robber, so 2 cards will be exiled from the top of Gavin's deck. They're both lands. Teferi will go to the graveyard. And looks like send it right back over.
Yeah, especially with the Robber having haste, I think I would have liked to get the Teferi in play here. You just might not have another shot.
I agree, yeah, and it's just so... It's so good against Gavin's deck.
Right, exactly.
Gavin's deck is built because there isn't very much Teferi right now.
No, absolutely.
And if you could just put it into play with your stupid black-red aggro deck, it turns off, 10 or more cards in this deck.
All right. Robber's going back again.
Another Teferi. We can do this all day long. Looks like Knight of the Ebon Legion off the top there for Axton. Here's the Robber of the Rich again. Looks like he's still doing the same thing. Kill Teferi, hit you. Looks like the attacks. Brazen Borrower, Dovin's Veto.
Axton on the mill plan here.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Whatever works. All right. And presumably he did deploy that Knight of the Ebon Legion as well. Interesting choice to kill the Teferi there. He could have gone 4-face and given the Knight of the Ebon Legion a +1/+1 counter. Of course, none of that matters in the face of Time Wipe.
Yeah, I do think you want to get the Teferi off the board just because, you don't... It's so likely your opponent has some sort of 5-mana Wrath that's about to come down.
Definitely.
You just don't need to leave them with that Planeswalker once that all settles.
Absolutely, absolutely. Definitely also an argument to just not casting the Knight of the Ebon Legion as well then.
Yeah, I do think that there's a pretty good argument to just not cast the Knight there. If it's not going to get a counter, next turn what it's going to do, attack for 1.
Steven is in the booth with me. Say hello to the people, Steven. They want to know
hello,
who you are.
everyone. I'm Steven. I'm Wandering Venser on Twitter. I play enormous amounts of Standard, and now I play enormous amounts of Pioneer.
Yeah, the classic.
So if you want to ask me Pioneer opinions for the weekly hot take,
Yes,
I'm here for that
Steven's
one.
weekly Pioneer hot take. What is the weekly Pioneer hot take, out of curiosity?
Well, I mean, there's sort of a lot of them.
Give me the hottest. The hottest take. Fresh out of the oven take.
Have you gotten locked out by Kethis and Hope of Gurper yet?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one. Chromantaflare?
I don't know.
Is that the hot take?
Let's just put Zatalpa in our Chromanticore deck, shall we? Or in our Chromanticore. In our Soul Flare deck.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah, my other part of that review for that is the Rest in Peace is a card, but...
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever, yeah, who cares?
Yeah, whatever. Rest in Peace is a card for your stupid Kethis deck, too. Huh.
Incredibly, that deck is not atrocious.
Yeah, somehow.
Yeah.
All right, so it looks like Gavin will be drawing a couple cards. Looks like things have settled down a little bit since we last checked in. Looks like Axton has a Spawn of Mayhem on his side of the field. Gavin Prison Realmed one of them, and Axton with 2 more Spawn of Mayhems in hand. Gavin looks like he's mostly stabilized, but he is going to have to find a way to deal with all of these Spawn of Mayhems.
Yeah, he's stabilized, but the Mayhem commences.
Yeah, and of course, Axton is at 20, so he's not really in any risk of losing, all of these Spawn of Mayhems getting any bigger, but still definitely a problem. This is game 3, Twedelia.
Yeah, we saw a couple of pretty lopsided games 1 and 2. Whoever was on the play won pretty easily.
You did not miss a whole lot.
Yeah.
In game 1 or 2. Game 2 had a little bit more play to it, but game 1 was over in 3 turns. Yep. I do mean over. Gavin had conceded on his 3rd turn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, we'll see what's going on now. Gavin will take it on
Murder
step.
Strider on the table here.
Yeah, Spawn of Mayhem as well. So, Axton presumably just drawing and playing a lot of lands as he is just, spell. Let's see what Gavin wants to do. He's got a full grip over there. Looks like the full 7 from over here. Another glass gasket.
Yeah, a few more permanents. Get your permanents out of here.
Answer and Ugin.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Ugin, kill your Spawn of Mayhem. Go. Axton left with, I believe, just a Spawn of Mayhem in hand as his only threat.
Time to get it out there.
Yeah, and, this is...
It's not bad.
It is a good one, but he is going to have to hope that Gavin just has no answer.
It's hard to imagine.
Gavin has
that's
a lot of cards in his hand, yeah. Let's see what that top card is. Gavin will take a look. Looks like Brazen Borrower in hand for Gavin.
That's not
I think there's a Dovin's Veto as well.
Yeah, that one's not good news either.
Yeah, Time Wipe, Aether Gust. Oh boy.
it's
all of those cards are live.
They're almost all good ones.
Yeah, that's bad news. I was really hoping to turn around and see a whole lot of nothing even there just, for Axton's sake. But that is a whole lot of something.
Even just Petty Theft here is just so good because every turn is just time.
Just Time Wipe. Time Wipe the Spawn of Mayhem, whatever. Get out of here.
Yeah, why not?
Pick up my whatever this is. Island.
An island. Yeah, I just want to hit my land drops, man.
Sure, whatever. Alright. Here is a Blood Crypt untapped from Axton. And an Experimental Frenzy.
I'm going to veto
That's the one, but that one will not resolve. That was the best card in our deck, but, now we've cleared the way for the next one.
Hopefully.
Is that another Ugin? Oh, no.
That's just a little Gadwick action here.
Gadwick, huh? How much are we Gadwicking for here, Gavin? That's the real question. Looks like it's gonna be...
Taking a quick 5.
Gadwick for 5.
Another 2/2 in here.
Hard oof. That's a pretty relevant point. This is a lot of lands in Noxious Grasp off the top. Oh, no. Boy, that card looks bad here.
I was talking about this.
I can't help but feel like we mentioned this one. Can't help but feel like we brought this up at a previous point.
Yeah, this.
No, attack for 5.
Sure.
Yikes.
Absolutely, why
Oh,
not?
yeah. No, I mean, you were absolutely supposed to. It's just yikes. You know?
You never want to see the blue-white controller.
Oh, that's a lot of lands that are
Oh, boy.
getting tapped here. What's going on here? Gavin,
Oh,
reconsider. Yeah, what could we possibly be doing with all that mana?
Just revving
yeah,
the
just
engine a little
go.
bit.
Yeah, whatever. Oh,
yeah,
finale of
glory.
Revelation.
No,
Finale of glory. Oh, yeah.
Finale of your dead.
So we are making 10 4/4 angels.
Gavin electing not to put his tokens on the board because he does not believe
Does
the
not
board
matter.
can survive.
Yeah, it does not matter. And there's the handshake. We will see Gavin taking down Axton in 3.
In, shall I say, glorious fashion.
Glorious fashion, indeed. That was a excellent showing from this blue-white control. From that blue-white control deck. What are your thoughts on that blue-white control deck in general?
I'm still not sure how I feel about it. I'm actually looked pretty good in this match. One of the things I was worried about was what happens if your opponent attacks you a lot. What happens if your opponent has sticky threats, haste threats. Axton had a lot of that stuff, and while he didn't necessarily get the best draw every game of the match,
Gavin definitely put up a fight.
Yeah,
at least in the
he
post-board
was
games.
able to kind of punch back and forth. So I like it better than I liked it before, but I'm still not totally sold. We'll see.
At least maybe it's convinced you to take it for a spin on Arena or whatever.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, so with that, I would like to remind everybody out in the audience that we are Paradise Games, and I am bringing you this Friday Night Magic tournament here on November 1st. If you've missed any of our past streamed events, they are on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/paradisegames, and we stream here Mondays and Fridays. On Mondays, we stream Modern. On Fridays, we stream Standard, and I am usually here in the booth, joined by some of the excellent people in the community. Steven, thank you so much for joining me tonight. So if you are watching the VOD, please be sure to come and check us out live. We go live at 6:30 p.m. on Mondays and Fridays. And if you're watching us live and you've missed anything that we've been doing, be sure to go check out the VOD. It'll be, I know this VOD will be up on YouTube probably around midnight tonight or so. That tends to be the usual timeline. But regardless, it will be up tomorrow for, most people, as they'll probably go home after like 10 or whatever. But
Sure.
if you missed any of our excellent matches, I highly recommend you go check them out. We have a backlog of content there as well, in case you want to catch up on anything that you missed. And it sounds like we have the ability to now announce that we will be running a 1K for Pioneer on December 14th as well. So everybody who is in the Bellingham area, please be sure to keep up to date with our social media and all that, so you can get the details on all of the tournaments going on, and you'll also get notified when we're going live. And I'm sure that we will be streaming that event as well. So I imagine that I will be there to tell you all about that. So with that, I will go ahead and leave you guys with some hot damn scandal. Gavin's here. Hello.
Hello.
How you doing, Gavin?
Great.
Excellent. How's that match for you?
It seemed okay. The first game you guys saw, I just didn't do
Oh,
anything.
you got smoked. Yeah, you got smoked.
That was
Yeah,
not a
absolutely
fun
smoked.
game. Yeah. But the other two games, I felt like it was pretty okay. Obviously, the Tavares helped a ton. Accidentally having one black mana for all of game 3 made it really awkward.
Yeah, for sure.
I was trying to set up a Gadwick, time wipe Gadwick.
Did not know the first Gadwick isn't enough value.
Yeah, that didn't really work out. But yeah, this is the first time I've played with the deck, but it seems pretty.
It looks sweet. I don't know. I'm a big fan of blue-eye control just in formats in general, so
yeah.
I don't need too much convincing to sleeve up mountains and plains and islands.
Yeah,
so.
If I didn't have the Dovin's veto for the experimental frenzy, that game obviously could have been much different depending how hard you could chain off. But.
Yeah, he had a lot of lands there, so you definitely need an answer. But even if you got to chain off for a couple turns, you just eventually were gonna kill it with Ugin or whatever, probably.
Yeah. Now with Robber of the Rich, you can play lands off of it, right?
I don't believe so.
I don't think you can either.
Yeah, I believe it's only spells. But he could have played your Teferi at one point.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that.
I was surprised the one turn when I bounced his thing. He just attack and then play Teferi, and then it makes it much awkward for me to do everything. But maybe he's assuming that I board out some amount of counter spells, so he just wants to get the guys in, because if he gives me too much time not playing creatures, then it's worse. I don't know.
It makes sense. I don't know. We from our seat, it looked pretty excellent to play the Teferi in those games. But we're also kind of sitting here spitballing,
right.
Not paying the most attention to the game, mostly just talking about Pioneer hot takes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like maybe if it played the Teferi and like bounced or just like use it to like draw a card to try and hit a black Swords a turn earlier, that might have been okay. So, but
excellent.
Yeah.
On a side note, you are going to be going to Mythic Championship 6, I believe, Richmond.
Yes.
You're leaving Tuesday?
Tuesday morning,
right?
Yep.
What has your testing led you to for that? I know that we've all kind of been testing together, but we'll go ahead and get your opinion on the matter.
Yeah, so, I mean, Sultai seems like the front runner so far. Seems like it's like the Jund of Standard right now, so I kind of like mid-rangey decks.
We're all big fan of mid-range pile. We all graduated from Stephen Boston's School of Mid-Range.
Yeah, so I mean,
I have the degree in my bedroom.
I don't mind playing like Oko mirrors. I think that's fine. But I am spending these next few days trying to see if anything can sort of have a pretty like consistent like above average matchup against
Oko for sure.
And Oko decks in general, just because I think the format's so inbred that people are just going to be playing Oko decks because maybe they don't want to test, and Oko's going to get banned. So like, I'm just going to play Oko because it's the best deck. So like this Mythic Championship, it seems like if you can find a deck that can like consistently like beat it, and hope you just get paired against it every round, which is like pretty high possibility.
That's pretty reasonable.
That you could have a good shot as long as you're like not bad at drafting.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of just experimenting to see. Jerry Thompson was saying that he really liked blue white against the Sultai decks.
Sounds like something we'll be playing later.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna be testing it, but if I don't find anything, then I'll probably just play some Oko deck, whether it's Sultai or Bant or
just
blue-green.
Straight blue green or whatever.
I don't know if I probably won't play blue green, but either Bant or Sultai. I think Time Wipe's actually like pretty nuts right now.
Time Wipe looked good in those games.
It did.
At the very least, but I don't know who's going to be playing Black Red Aggro at the Pro Tour, but it will be somebody. Whether it's the Aristocrats version or
probably Willie Edel.
I would expect a reasonable amount of that Black Red, Cauldron Familiar Witch's Oven sacrifice theme deck.
And I mean, even
it's kind of been popping up.
Even against like Sultai and stuff, it's not the worst because like if they're just using this and plussing a whole bunch of lands,
it feels pretty
stuff,
good. I've played it a little bit.
Yeah, you can kind of stabilize and then just like kill 3 of their lands and their Hydro Crisis and their Goose and all their mana ramp stuff. Sometimes it's like good enough. So I don't know.
Definitely.
It's interesting. We'll see how it goes. I'm on one so far, so we'll play some more games.
We'll have to figure out if we can consistently beat Oko, get our Pro Tour testing in.
Yeah, I want to definitely test a whole bunch of post-board games because obviously game 1 is probably really good, and then the post-board games, they have Veils and Duress.
Probably tend to get much harder,
See,
the Veil Duress Stroke seems like a pretty potent sideboard plan.
Yeah.
Sure.
So.
You do need to still stick a threat and kill them with it, and maybe that plan is just particularly hard, and like maybe you can deal with, their proactive plan for a reasonably long time, but eventually you just can't kill them.
Yeah.
I could see the games playing out in that type of manner as well.
Potentially, yeah. I think Brazen Borrower is actually pretty solid against Sultai.
Yeah.
It seems like they don't, like, game 1, they have no way to kill it besides, I guess, Vraska. And then, obviously they have, like, Hydroid Crisis to the block. But you kind of have like Prison Realm and other stuff to kind of work around that, and like if you can just
Glass Casket even hits Hydroid Crisis.
Yeah, so like even if you just like play a couple like Brazen Borrowers or even one, just like can just protect it and hit for 3 every turn and counter their stuff. Like usually you might be able to just chop them.
And is
the
that
Delver of Secrets?
Kind of like Delver of Secrets.
Is that blue white control deck playing the full 4 Brazen Borrowers?
Yeah, I'm playing 4 of those, and then. It would also play Agent of Treachery, but I don't have any of those for tonight.
And
so.
Mass Manipulations as well, up at the top end, right?
Yeah, and like I think the guy, the 7-drop guy, is good.
Agent of Treachery.
Agent, you just play it, take their thing, bounce with Teferi, and then you get to take their next thing. So I was like,
yeah, it gets pretty absurd pretty quick.
Yeah, so
we're gonna be looking forward to playing all of those matches, which does mean that I probably will not be on the camera for next Friday, as I will be in Richmond as well.
Well, you might be on camera when you get a future match.
Maybe I'll be on camera in Richmond, but we'll see. But I will be here on Monday, so at least that's currently the plan, and I'm sure that everybody will people will be here to cast on Friday, so don't have any worries. People will be here. Anyways, with that, I expect the next round to go up shortly, so we're going to leave you with some hot damn scandal, and we'll be back for round number 3. Make sure not to go anywhere. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
The bottom fell out of the clouds today, and the rain came down like a mirror. One big sheet and it shattered on the ground. Now it's 7 years of bad luck all over this town. It's collection time on all of your debts, and you can't get by just talking. Your smile don't work and your car don't start, and your doors ain't keeping you alone. No, not even if you lock them. No, not even if you lock them. When you're tapped into that rate of fame, just about anything feels good. sunshine shining on a lost boy's eyes. They reflected oh so pretty, but it's cold behind them golden shores, and the sweet light wasn't nothing more than their own damn wishing, 'cause they just don't listen. Now wish on your candles, pray to your God, cry for your mama, put $1 on the bar. It feels like breathing, but the only good feeling ain't a gamble is a sin. So I think I'll play it safe and get a gin. I'll take the devil for a spin. When you're tapped into that video vein, just about anything feels good. For some the morning brings another day, but all it does for me is shine an ugly light around in the room that I've been hiding in. Now I take the easy way, yeah, that gets harder every day, but I ain't here to fix myself, I'm just trying to blind these eyes from hell. When you're tapped into that beat of vein, just about anything feels good. I like to swim at the bottom of the barrel. I like to sleep in hidey holes and barroom stalls. I like to hear the piano playing in the bloody little dawn. I like to wake up with the devil and drink him till he's gone. The queen is drunk and someone armed the pawns. Oh, the truth they say is an acquired taste, a vice I've never thought to own. There is no cleaner left, so we filter it through cigarettes. But the gambler's mercy keeps us blind and fade.
everybody, and welcome back for round number 3 here. We have a real treat for you on camera this game. We have a real treat. We got the Esper Stacks mirrors. Looks like we are coming in. Both players have taken a mulligan once.
No one has a magic mirror in their deck. What's going on?
I'm pretty sure that would just end up decking whoever played it in this matchup.
You're right.
All right, so it looks like in true mirror fashion, Watergrave tapped from both players. Mm-hmm. What do you think the important cards in this
Dance
mirror
of the
is?
Mance.
Any other ones?
With Teferi. That's it.
That's it. That's all that matters. Maybe
no. Certainly, yeah. There's a lot of cards that matter, and there's several cards that don't matter very much.
Yeah. Thought Eraser taking a Thought Eraser. That's pretty standard.
Yep, that's pretty usual. The eggs are eggs. They're gonna go for the most of this match. We're gonna see people play an egg, pass, maybe play Teferi, pick up an egg, play an egg, pass, like that kind of thing. It's definitely a control mirror. If somebody gets really up on permanence, they can start Doom Foretolding
and try and grind them out.
Try to get some advantage that way. But especially in game 1, it's just going to be a lot of, all right, here's my permanent, here's your permanent. Both players.
Eggs.
All right, golden egg. Thought Eraser takes Thought Eraser, which is all kind of a wash in the end.
Yeah. All right. Eggs.
Yeah. And I will mention, though, it is important to be playing eggs. The thing I said about getting ahead on permanence, I mean, eggs are the way you do that.
Definitely matters, yeah.
If 2 turns down the line, Greg has 4 eggs and James still just has that 1 golden egg, it's going to become a problem when a Doom Foretold hits. Right?
Absolutely, yeah. Here is that Doom Foretold. James is going to be the first one to come out of the gate with it here.
I don't know if I love this here. I mean, you kind of, if you look how the game's going to progress, it's going to go, okay, Greg sacks his egg, you sack your egg, Greg sacks his Guild Globe.
You sack
your Doom Foretold.
Yeah, maybe James must have another egg.
Yeah, there's an egg in hand, but I mean, Greg could easily have an egg of his own in hand.
In fact, he does.
Yeah,
has an egg or 2, I think.
So it's hard for me to want to play Doom Foretold when my opponent is already up an egg on me.
Yeah, it feels like
it's hard to win that race.
You're just gonna end up hurting yourself more than you hurt them.
For sure.
Just gonna end up sacrificing Doom Foretold to itself and be down a card or whatever. And then, heaven forbid, Greg has a Doom Foretold and opts into this battle.
Which is where we
Yikes.
Arrived.
Yeah. That is bad news for James.
So
we could see double egg here from James. Looks like the most likely play given the cards in his hand.
And that's not so bad.
Yeah. Gonna give us plenty of time to kind of try and recover from losing our Doom Foretold and, well, our egg.
Yeah.
So, Greg with another egg in hand, Oath of Kaya as well. So,
yeah, Greg is just really he's loaded up on eggs here, right? Like he's
got a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
It always feels like these decks have so many of this dumb egg.
There's only 8.
And there's only 8. Why do they always have like 4? It's unreal. I don't get it. How do they always have so many?
Because they want to.
All right. Looks like Teferi's going to bounce a Doom Foretold and draw a card.
Okay.
That's the turn from James.
This is kind of nice because it puts Greg basically in the spot that James was in before, where it's like, all right, well, you want to cast your Doom Foretold into my more permanents? Like,
yeah. It's pretty awkward. Yeah. Of course, Greg does have extra eggs behind, but if James just plays a Doom Foretold, then, well, we've seen that song and dance before.
It is a mirror.
Well, it looks like here is the Doom Foretold. James will sacrifice an egg, draw a card. It is a Watery Grave. Here's an egg from James. That one will buy him 1 turn of safety from the Doom Foretold. Plus this Teferi. I would love to see an Oath of Kaya just go upstairs here as well. No creatures in this matchup
Nope.
Notably. So, Oath of Kaya does not have a mode other than Lightning
Only
Helix
the ones
you.
that come from Dancing
So, yeah. So, he is going
an icky, we might say, in Oath of Kaya.
Yeah, he's also got a Kaya's Wrath in hand, and that one is no good. Here's a draw.
There are Murderous Riders that could theoretically get.
Oh yeah, you're right. Each deck has like 2 of them.
I mean, you get a long time to figure that one out.
If we're doing this Doom Foretold thing, I think we kind of just want to opt into putting more permanents on the battlefield.
Sure,
Looks like Greg slaps a Doom Foretold into play himself.
that a Wishclaw Talisman hanging out there?
It appears to be.
That's pretty terrifying.
It's very good in this matchup, I think.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's really hard for James to do anything or attempt anything proactive when that's just hanging out there. Yep. I think James has a planar cleansing in his hand, and I wouldn't have hated to just see it there.
Yeah, I feel like if your opponent has Wishclaw Talisman... I mean, the only thing about it is that Greg is missing land drops at this point.
Yeah, but Wishclaw Talisman get Teferi here just seems so good. Right? Like, you just Wishclaw Talisman, get Teferi, pick it back up.
Card.
Yeah, it draws me to a land.
Greg's going to stick with just, alright, here's my Oath of Kaya.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Oath of Kaya down to Teferi. Pretty relevant.
The permanent count changes quite a bit in his favor at that point.
Hello. Thank you for joining the stream completely, Mandy. I assume that is your wife, Amanda Boston.
That's true.
I would assume as much. Hello. Thank you for joining us. We've got a lovely Esper Stacks mirror going on here. You picked an excellent time to
Wishclaw Talisman, is that getting activated? Because we can only activate that on our turn.
I believe Wishclaw Talisman is getting activated, and then James is going to untap with it, and he just...
I don't...
Oh, James cast planar
end step.
cleansing.
Okay, got it.
Got it. That tracks.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah. And we'll see what Greg decided to find.
I'm not a huge fan of end stepping that planar cleansing, actually.
Yeah, it didn't look great here.
Letting your opponent Wishclaw Talisman and kind of just get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, we could have main phased it.
Here it is. It's the dance.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, is that Doom Foretold?
That is a Doom Foretold.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Sure.
But it's quite good. I mean, James doesn't have permanence, right?
It's like the old 2 or 3 for 1.
Now, we see Greg pulling pretty far ahead here.
Yeah, that planar cleansing, part of having drawn fewer lands is that Greg just has a bunch of resources. And
lots of spells.
Empty at this point.
Yeah, here is. I wouldn't be surprised to see just a dance for 4 here, get back a bunch of Doom Foretold, and just James doesn't have permanence, right? Like if we just dance for 4 here, I think Greg has at least 2 Doom Foretolds in his graveyard. It might be 3,
right.
And you can just activate all of them, right? Yep. Like that's just so good. That's so much damage. James doesn't have a lot of cards in his deck that really deal with that. It's really only Kaya's Wrath.
Yeah, and he doesn't have it. I mean, now.
Yeah,
right?
he's hellbent right now, so it's going to be hard to beat. It looks like here is Teferi and Oath of Kaya.
At the same time, the conservative line's probably fine too.
Yeah, I don't hate it. So here's an egg to start off the turn from James. And we'll see what it drew him into. Looks like Murderous Rider. Swift End, take out your Teferi, and then the other half. Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. That's quite good, yeah.
Now he's kind of immune to the... not immune to Doom Foretold, but he's got a lot of permanence in play to mess around with Doom Foretold.
Yeah, got a lot more action here. Greg does have another Doom Foretold in his hand. He also has a dance. So here's dance for 4. We are going to see 2 Doom Foretolds and presumably 2 eggs. I wouldn't hate to see an Oath of Kaya here instead of an egg. Yeah. I would have preferred an Oath of Kaya here.
Get the 2/3 out of here.
Just kill that thing, yeah. Also, notably, lets you sacrifice one of your Doom Foretolds on your turn, because it's going to go to our turn, and we're going to have to sacrifice...
the 2 eggs.
Yeah.
That part's fine.
Like the 2 eggs, but, we could just end up, with only 1 Doom Foretold or whatever, and get the activation as well.
Sure.
Get an extra 2/2, get an extra card, and all that.
Well, this needs to be a good one for James here.
Yeah.
It's a spell.
Kaya's Wrath. Yeah.
That's not bad.
That isn't a terrible start. That's as good as Kaya's Wrath's ever going to be on his turn.
Well, other than killing Dance for first.
Yeah, pretty much. But that doesn't feel like a winning proposition. Pretty much ever. Here is another 2 Doom Foretolds. Oh boy. Just going to crack all 3 on James's turn. James will be going all the way.
I have an idea where this game is going. You could say I can foretell it.
Yeah. Doom.
We all knew that.
Yeah, so Greg's going to draw 3 cards, gain 6 life. James will lose 6 life, discard 3 cards. Of course, he only has no cards in hand, so none of that.
What is this for
4? Presumably a Doom Foretold. Looks like it is a Doom Foretold, as Greg sacrifices a golden egg. Greg will attack for 6, and then dance back an Oath of Kaya for lethal. And that'll be the end of game number 1. Greg will take down James in the mirror. So,
15 more Doom Foretolds, 15 more Teferi. Well, I have to put... given this sideboard here, 15 more Teferi for James, 15 more Doom Foretold for Greg, I gotta put it in Greg's favor. I think Doom Foretold is just really good in the matchup. Probably just most of those are coming in.
Yeah.
Probably not all of them, but
Like, were you bringing in 9 Doom Foretolds or whatever?
what do they actually have?
right.
Let's see.
Greg, we have 4 Noxious Grasps, 3 Duress, 2 Devout Decree, 2 Dovin's Veto, 1 True Love's Kiss, 1 Lockmere Serpent, 1 Planar Cleansing, and 1 the Elder Spell. What sounds good
True
here?
Love's Kiss is nice.
It's excellent, yeah.
So that one's clearly coming in. Yeah. Exile thing, draw a card. Let's go.
Oh yeah, into it.
Serpent's not out of the question.
I don't hate it. I don't hate a
Planner
little bit of
Cleansing's
Lockmere Serpent.
fine.
We got
that
Flash.
Could come in. Vetoes, Dresses. Those are pretty good cards.
Definitely in on the Dovin's Vetoes and the
all that
Dresses.
stuff's definitely here. I especially like the True Love's Kiss and the Lockmere Serpent.
Alrighty.
Both that get you a lot of advantage and. The Serpent is important because I do think you need some sort of alternate win condition with the number of Duress and Thought Erasures and all this stuff that there's going to be flying around in this game.
And you don't want to get your Dance of Mances on Mordigo or whatever.
Yep, and that's totally on the table
end up in a bad
too.
spot. And that is a totally reasonable sideboard card. And we see that Greg doesn't have it.
And James does. So.
James does, so... Alright. Meanwhile, on James's side, we see 2 Disenchant, 1 Ashiok, 2 Duress, 1 the Elder Spell, 2 Cry of the Carnarium, 1 Tail's End, 1 Unmordigo, 1 Negate, 1 Dovin's Veto, 1 Legion's End, 1 Deputy of Detention, and 1 Saheeli. Pretty different sideboards here. What sounds good from James?
It just depends how James wants to approach this. The Disenchants certainly have text.
Definitely.
The Ashiok's an option, but I don't think that's really how you want to try to do it.
It can shut off Dance of Demands, but at the same time, it doesn't do that particularly effectively because of the ability to just put up a bunch of eggs in the play and then sacrifice them all to themselves.
You're pretty good at leaving
filter
things
mana.
in play. And,
Unmordigo, definitely good.
The Ego's definitely a good option. Just get rid of all the dances, call it a day. It's pretty hard for your opponent to win from there.
Yeah, really hard. I mean, I guess he has a Lockmere Serpent, but still.
Deputy, I don't think you want. It does do some stuff, but most of it is... I guess I can exile your eggs, and then it gets Oath of Kaed.
Well, I would expect Oath of Kaya to mostly be hitting the sideboard in these post-board games. I would not expect Greg to have many Oath of Kayas in this
That's
main
true,
deck.
but even so, what is our plan? Is it really just to remove some
eggs and get ahead in the Doom Foretold race? Yeah, I mean, yeah.
The problem is if they kill it,
Yeah, if they kill it, it gets pretty bad, but they can't have that many ways to kill it.
And I do think that, the first 4 that go out are certainly Kaya's Wrath, right?
Oh, definitely.
And so I think you do end up with a couple of Oaths still in the deck.
I would assume you would have a couple, yeah. I mean, you do still want to kill 2/2s every now and again off the Doom Foretold, and you are going to want to kill, for example, Deputy of Detention out of the sideboard or whatever.
Negate and Veto, pretty good.
What do you think about the Saheeli?
I'm not convinced that this is what you want. So how is the game going to play out here? You're going to cast your Saheeli, assuming it gets into play. You're going to hope that
you're probably going to want to untap with it.
It's just not great against the
cast some eggs.
Right? I don't know. It might be fine just because it makes a bunch of creatures.
Yeah, I'm really not sure. I'd probably need to see it in play to really have an idea if it has a place in this matchup. But I think that there's a pretty reasonable argument for almost every card in James's sideboard here. Yep. And I'll be interested to see how James configured his deck for the post-board games here.
Yeah, I do think
there are a lot of interesting directions to go.
And the thing that has to be mentioned really is that the sum total of what you take in and put out is going to matter a lot.
Definitely.
There's a world where you could want Saheeli in your deck, but do you want it at the same time as you have Ashiok? That seems pretty unlikely.
I agree.
So I don't know, and there's a lot of options here. It depends what exactly James's pre-board configuration.
Yeah, and I think the cards you're taking out matter a lot too.
Yep, because if you have still Legion's End in your sideboard or in your main board, that's certainly coming out. So that's another easy one you definitely take out.
Yeah,
but not everybody has those. I think we saw James with the main deck Dovin's Veto, for example, earlier. That's not probably not going to come out. So
yeah, that one's staying in almost for sure.
It makes a difference. We'll just have to see what the players have decided to do and what
see how it goes. So we will see James on the play here for game number 2. Looks like both players are drawing their opening 7s. This one looks pretty good from James. I see 2 lands, a Thought Erasure, Dovin's Veto, or 2. And as long as we find some more lands, I think this hand should do pretty well for James. A Guild Globe as well to try and fulfill that. And it looks like he did bring in that Saheeli.
Okay. that is something I didn't mention in game 1, but hitting land drops is extremely important.
Very.
It's this is a thing that's always true in control mirrors, but especially here where your main, one of your main payoffs is 8 mana basically.
Yeah.
Hitting your land drops is going to be huge.
So it looks like turn 1 duress off a Godless Shrine for Greg. Will be taking the Saheeli out of James's hand. So
Let's see,
James's hand is Dovin's Veto, Thought Erasure,
Disenchant
Egg.
That's not bad.
Yep.
Wait,
That's a pretty
who
good
signed
hand.
James's playmat? Well, a couple different people it looks like. I think one of them might be me.
That is Osaze Takamatsu twice.
Oh.
And maybe even 3 times.
Really?
Yeah, it's at least the bottom 2 are Osaze Takamatsu, and I couldn't tell you who the top one is.
It looks kind of like mine, but I don't actually remember signing it, so who knows?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if James has graduated from 3-Color Mid-Range Academy, so we'll see.
Yeah, it is the Osaze Takamatsu, indeed.
Yes, that's true. You say the whole thing.
Here comes the negate on the golden egg. It's just snap
right
negating
along
golden egg.
Wow.
How do you feel about that? Are you into aggressively negating golden
I
eggs?
don't know if that's where you can be. I think that James did that because his hand is just kind of full of that. He's got, I think,
yeah, I
I
tend to agree.
Right? Like, at some point, you can't just let your opponent do whatever they want. But
Ooh, Unmoored Ego off the top. Hello. As long as the coast is clear here on Greg's side, if he doesn't have any counter magic.
Clear that it is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Greg has blue mana.
Well, there's a good glove in play at least.
Oh, yes, of course. Still, you don't feel too bad if he's cracking a Guild Glove for a negate, You do feel like you effectively got kind of a card when they sacrifice their Guild Glove for mana restrictions.
The problem is that Unmoored Ego is not a card you can just say, okay, this got countered and move on. Like,
yeah, it's
really
definitely the most important card in, I think, either player's 60-card configuration.
Yep. And we are running it out
But
here.
it looks like Greg does not have anything, so
So
I assume Dance of the Manse is the name.
what's going on in Greg's hand here?
I see lands.
Land.
Is that land?
Maybe
Is that just 5 lands?
5 lands. All right.
I think that's just 5 lands.
Okay. That's.
I think
not
one of
great.
them's Castle Ardenvale, though. I believe that is 2 Watery Graves, a Godless Shrine, a Castle Ardenvale, and an island.
We always say this in Modern with like Mishra's Bauble and that kind of thing.
This happens sometimes.
Sometimes your hands all draw ones and it becomes all lands very quickly.
Incorrect. The castle is a Hallowed Fountain. Got it.
So it's not even an action land.
Not even an action land. It's just straight up 5 lands.
It's a rough spot.
Yeah, you really hate to see that. Of course, James still missing land drops means that honestly I might favor Greg's spot. Like if we didn't just have all of our dances on Unmoored Ego'd, I would probably take Greg's hand over James's.
I'm assuming that Greg has the Lockmere Serpent in his deck.
He does, or he should at least.
Right. And assuming that's the case,
Doom Foretold was Unmoored Ego'd. Oh no.
Okay, well, interesting.
So what do you think the reasoning behind that is?
I mean, it is the card you least want to see in the meantime. James might have played this mirror more than I have. I'm not sure. I think I've only played like 1 or 2 matches. Man, it seems pretty hard to sell me on not just taking Dance of the Manse.
Yeah.
Especially since I assume you don't even have Kaya's Wraths in your deck if that,
Definitely.
If that happens.
So looks like here is another duress. Looks like James's hand is 3 Doom Fortolds, Planar Cleansing, Disenchant, Dovin's Veto.
Yeah, especially with the Disenchant in hand, I'm not super fond of the... I think you have a pretty good incentive there to name.
It looks like James still has a Kaya's Wrath in his deck as well.
Boy. I wonder if that's just like I kept 1 just to hedge, or
it easily could be. I'd
like
be
it's
surprised
necessary.
if it was more than 1.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe he just decided to take out something else first. Could be the Oath of Kaya's. I think I prefer Oath of Kaya to Kaya's Wrath for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, well, here's the Doom Foretold.
I mean, yeah, that was live.
If Greg doesn't draw relevant spells, he is just going to lose to these 3 Doom Fortolds.
Yep.
Absolutely. He's going to sack an egg, James will sack an egg, and then another land off the top for Greg.
That way you can see the impact they have on the game here.
Yeah, the eggs are important here. So here's Oath of Kaya, just going to hit James.
Yeah, that Oath of Kaya is actually pretty big.
Quite relevant. We'll see if James wants to just play out another Doom Foretold on his turn. Force one of them to go off. Ooh. Guild Globe, an excellent draw there.
Guild Globe's nice.
Yeah, one of the best ones, I think.
Keep your opponent on the hook for this Doom Foretold.
Yeah, and if we draw another land, we get to just play another Doom Foretold. Oh, another egg. Not too bad.
Egg's plenty good.
Yeah, another egg will do the job, too.
You can see James really starting to churn here.
Hallowed Fountain. I expect us to take 2 damage for this Hallowed Fountain for our Dovin's Veto here.
Yep. Easy.
Yeah.
Oh, or
we
for...
just disenchant.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's the aggro plan. That's for sure.
Send him.
I'm not convinced I love that line.
I'm not either, but I think you're mostly killing that card for free, and you can pretty convinced your opponent doesn't have anything.
I think I like holding up the Dovin's Veto just to make sure nothing terrible happens.
And
but
on the other hand...
Here we are.
On the other hand, if your opponent, if your plan is... I guess they probably have some sort of backup plan, but, only 1 or 2 cards in their deck. Oh, no, the dance.
Uh-oh. So here's
Here it
dance
is.
for 6.
Oh, boy. All right, we're only getting 3 things back? That's not too bad.
Yeah,
but
they're
they're
all
4
4/4s. James does have the Kaya's Wrath, though, we know about.
I mean, I guess it looks good.
Yeah, it looks like Greg elects
So
to
maybe...
just send the Oath of Kaya upstairs at James. He'll draw 2 cards off the Guild Globes. Or off the Guild Globe and the Golden Egg entering the battlefield. Dovin's Veto. And did not catch the other one.
Kaya's Wrath can be countered.
Yeah. And
if it does get countered, this game might be over real
If James
fast.
just held up the Dovin's Veto here, he would have been able to counter that Dance of the Mans, and we would be in a very different game.
It's hard to say just because it's just so unlikely that your opponent has that.
Yeah, and here you hate to see this attack.
The attack.
Yeah, the attack is rough.
The attack's huge
because your opponent just shocked.
Oh no!
And now we're gonna cast this Kaya's Wrath, and it's just gonna get Dovin's Vetoed. And Dovin's Veto does not work when trying to counter a Dovin's Veto.
No, it does not.
Greg is going to automatically win this Dovin's Veto race.
He has to
But it
crack.
looks like Greg lets it resolve. He just cracked his Golden Egg for 3 life. What? That was 12 points of damage.
I'm confused.
James is at 15.
Yeah, what
gives here?
What can James even do if you counter that?
Yeah, like...
Oh, boy.
At that point, if we just draw Oath of Kaya...
We just have another dance. But now it's getting Dovin's Veto.
Yeah, and we knew about that.
Wow, this game is insane.
No, that doesn't work. No! No! None of this works! Oh, no! Oh, no! What am I watching? Oh, no. All right. The players figured it out.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Drama.
I think we just watched both of these players punt this game back and forth to each other. And now I think that James is firmly in control again.
Yeah, I mean, you must be right.
Yeah, I mean, and now we get to start our turn with Teferi. It has to get Dovin's Vetoed, right? I mean, we know our opponent has it, so, like, we're going to play it.
3 mana
Now
discard your Dovin's Veto,
just
please.
play this Doom Foretold.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, now James is winning again.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
Yeah, Greg will discard his last land. He's
Like
down to just the top cards of stack. Here's
Hear
plenty
me
of
out
lands,
on a
though.
Lochmere Serpent off the top.
All right, well, here's a Guild Globe. That's a redraw at it. And Teferi, yeah, this is great.
Bounce the
Teferi,
2/2. All right, play on.
well, we can bounce the Guild Globe even, but
I think you got to get 2/2 out of here.
yeah, I think I agree. I think James has another Doom Foretold in his hand, though, so
I mean, yeah, that plays.
he'll get to start chewing away at all of Greg's permanents.
The artifacts out of here again.
And of course, Dance of the Mance off the top for James, but he is 1 mana short of being able to do it for the full 6, to get the 4/4s.
Yeah, that said though, like, there's a lot of Doom Foretolds in the yard. Just dancing for 5 might be fine here.
I would like to point out that this play by both of these players, not nearly as bad as Sabian both missing lethal and letting his opponent kill him on board.
It's always good to run that one back.
Yeah, definitely not as bad as that. And if you missed that play, I would like to remind you that you can find the VOD on YouTube from last Friday night, and it is excellent. I highly recommend you go check it out. Anyways, got that.
Alex with the A+ segue here.
I do what I can. Do what I can. All right. So here is Dance of the Mance for 4, bringing back Doom Foretold, Doom Foretold, Doom Foretold, and an egg.
Yep.
So
I would like to say that this one's over, but who knows?
yeah, I mean, I don't know if Greg draws Dance, right? Like,
There's only 1 in his deck, right?
no, he has.
4?
Oh yeah, he probably only has 1. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because we've seen 2 already.
Fairy, get that 2/2 out of here. Game on.
Yeah, run it back. Get that 2/2 out of here. It worked so well last time.
We need to draw a good one here.
Is that Oath of Kaya off the top there for Greg?
That's pretty good.
It was, in fact, Oath of Kaya. Oath of Kaya U. Yeah, I just having flashbacks to when Greg did not counter that guy's wrath.
But he probably realizes at this point, like, shoot, and you just gotta pick it up, move on.
Wow, did James just sacrifice his Doom Foretold? He did. All right, and that's because he has the Dance the Man. So here's the dance for the full 6.
All right, I think we're done here.
Yeah, let's get back all of these. Here's 3 Doom Foretolds, 3 eggs.
Add all these.
Yeah, these are all 4/4s. Draw 3 cards, will James. Pass the turn back. Greg will sacrifice both of his permanents. James will get rid of one of his 4/4s. That's an upgrade.
Just a good old 20 power, draw 3.
Yeah. James will have to sacrifice 3 of these.
Yeah, so we're down to 20 power.
Yeah, down to 12 power or whatever. Yeah. Greg down to 20. James to 13 now. And we got a 2/2 out of the deal. Sick. All right, let's see what Greg drew. It's going to need to be a good one. That's for sure. I can't even tell. Oh, it's True Love's Kiss.
Oh, baby.
Oh, True Love's Kiss, you're Doom Foretold. Draw a card. That's a good one.
I'm maybe into exiling one of the globes, actually.
Yeah, I don't hate that. It looks like James is just going to go ahead.
Have to let your opponent stack themselves at some point.
Yeah, James is just going to go ahead and let his Doom Foretold eat itself. Attack for 14. Greg down to 6.
Got one more draw step here.
Yeah, and
maybe not even that. Ooh.
Oh, Oath of Kaya upstairs. Hello, Teferi, do it again.
There you go.
And that is lethal. And with that, we will be seeing a game number 3. Here from both of these players. These have been some fun games, you know.
Having an enchanted evening here.
Yeah, True Love's Kiss, perhaps.
That's right.
Indeed. So after seeing that,
the kiss of death.
After seeing that game, where do you land on the sideboard plans now? Got any updated insight after seeing a game?
I think I'm in on the Saheeli. Just thinking about it a little bit more. It's if you play it and if you play it and your opponent doesn't kill it immediately, which that sometimes that'll happen, but fine. You're gonna start to amass a little bit of board, and I think that this matchup is reasonably like little 1/1s are reasonably hard to get rid of.
Yeah, they're gonna be tough to kill.
Yeah, so I'm in to just have the Saheeli in the deck. I'm still pretty much where I was before. You want the duresses, you want the disenchants, you want the negate, the Dovin Veto, the Unmoored Ego. Tail's End you probably just can't do.
Unfortunate, but true.
Don't think there's much reason to have Cry or Elder Spell here. And I'm still pretty out on the Deputy. I do think if James is like...
Especially after seeing all the Oath of Kayas.
Yeah,
that are still floating around.
And I think that's probably fine too. So, I think the Deputy can't go in the deck. Basically, I'm where I was before. Greg's sideboarding is still a lot more straightforward. You want the Duress, you want the Dovin Veto, the True Love's Kiss, clearly, the Lockmere Serpent. If he didn't have Lockmere Serpent in that game, he certainly will in Game 3.
After getting Unmoored Ego, yeah, for sure. Looks like Greg has an Elder Spell in his deck. I caught a glimpse of that while he was flipping through.
That's really strange to me. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, there's the only target's Teferi, right? Oh, I guess Greg
you
did
saw
see
Saheeli. You don't know how many of those there are.
Yeah,
but
maybe you were pretty worried about it.
I don't know. There's Murder Shrouders in your deck already, right?
Yeah, and you have Doom Foretold or whatever.
Yep.
All those do a pretty good impersonation of dealing with Saheeli.
Absolutely.
All right, well, we'll have to see how things go. Looks like we've got an audience in the background checking out this this game from afar. But I can't say I blame them. This is an excellent match so far.
Oh, yeah.
And
stacks of Guild Globes.
Stacks on stacks on stacks on stacks.
That's right.
Greg, deep in the tank about this sideboard.
Greg, why do you have actual sideboard cards?
I believe Greg also has actual sideboard cards. True Love's Kiss is a nice one.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's quite nice. I'll admit it's not quite as nice as Unmoored Ego.
No, definitely not. I'm pretty surprised Greg does not have an Unmoored Ego in his sideboard. That card seems like one of those ones that you just want to put in your deck.
Brad has pointed out that 15 Doom Fortolds really would get there.
Oh yeah, definitely. They don't let you play 5 though. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I'm sure Greg would be playing 5.
I tend to think, Brad has also astutely pointed out that if you got 15 Doom Foretolds, your opponent couldn't Mordigo all of them. You can only Mordigo up to 4.
Oh, you're right.
Little did he know.
Fool. You ever unmordigo like a basic land? Just because you can.
I don't think I've had that one happen yet. Probably could have. That was probably a style victory that I should have taken in an arena game here or there.
Definitely points missed when, unmordigo swamp or whatever.
Alright, well, we're shuffling up here. Greg is on the play.
Greg will be on the play for this game.
Being on the play is pretty nice here, actually, just because you get to get all your discard out ahead.
Yeah, actually pretty relevant.
And Greg especially having more of the discard like that.
Like extra copies of Duress, I think.
Yep.
So that tracks. Seems pretty valuable.
I have to imagine they're all in the deck. So
yeah, looks like Greg will keep his 7. James will send it back.
Well, mulliganing's no good.
Yeah, mulliganing not where you want to be here.
I'm sure that it was probably just no land or something, but
it looks like a pretty non-decision there.
Yeah. In matchups like this, though, I do have an extremely high bar for how bad my hand has to be to mulligan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just, are there
I'm
3
keeping
lands?
almost everything.
I think anything at all you keep.
Yeah, I tend to agree. So this one looks like it has lands and spells, or at least land. I think there might only be one, though.
I'm actually on the at least spells.
Yeah, I think there might only be Watery Grave. Oh, a Fabled Passage.
Okay, 2 lands. Yep, that's probably good enough.
Yep. So here's Temple of Silence. We'll scry to the bottom. Temple of Silence from James as well.
Is it a land? If yes, top. If no, bottom.
Looks like top. Must be a land. Could be perhaps like a Thought Erasure. I could see.
There are definitely things in this matchup and in the players' decks that would result in a top that weren't lands. Like
Murderous Rider.
Yeah, I don't know if that was one, but
yeah, I don't think that's one. I'm not a huge fan of topping that one there. Here is a Wishclaw Talisman.
We can always Demonic Tutor for our land.
You gotta do what you gotta do, man.
Hey, if your opponent uses it, you get it.
Of course, on turn 4, James will be able to go Demonic Tutor for a Teferi, but that gets pretty awkward if Greg has any type of disruption.
Like this, for example.
Yeah. So here we'll get to see a better look at James's hand. It looks like it's Fabled Passage, Dovin's Veto, Murderous Rider, Oath of Kaya.
Looks like a plains at the end there. Not sure.
I think I agree, yeah. Very likely a plains.
We're on 4 lands. We've got a Negate, a Murderous Rider. See, that's the other thing. I'm not even sure if I want Murderous Rider, even if I have my lands.
Yeah. It doesn't have that many
card I'm
modes.
looking for.
Yeah, it only really kills Teferi that you really care about. So, we'll see what gets got here. Looks like the Disenchant going away. That's
that makes sense.
Pretty hard tell there for James. He should be able to figure something out about that. Left with the Dovin's Veto, Disenchant going away, though. Interesting. Just goes ahead and taps out of the Dovin's Veto and just plays an Oath of Kaya.
Yeah, I'm not sure that this is how you want to do it. But I think what James is planning is, look here, you're going to play Doom Foretold. That's fine. I'll sack my Oath of Kaya.
Yeah, try and just outgrind.
Yeah, and I think he just wants to save the Dovin's Veto for a dance.
Looks like
Greg is
Fabled
just happy
Passage
to just,
go.
Yeah, just plays land, pass back.
Yeah, Greg notably also has a Dovin's Veto, so... Of course, Dovin's Veto, great at forcing your threat through, especially when both players have that Dovin Veto, It's always better on defense. It's always better at preventing a threat from resolving than it is at getting your threat there. So, looks like both players doing a little bit of shortcutting here, finding some lands. Looks like James will activate
firing
his
up the Wishclaw Talisman. Let's go.
Uh-oh, if we're getting Teferi, we could run into some bad news here.
Oh, no.
Teferi would certainly be getting Dovin's Vetoed, and would be quite bad for James, because now he's... Greg just actually gets this Wishclaw Talisman.
You always got to remember your opponent has Dovin's Veto, too.
Yeah.
And none of it's... And especially, the thing I would like to see James do here is, just take his draw step, right?
I think I agree, yeah.
Just take the draw step. You're not in a rush to do any of this. The Wishclaw Talisman's in play. It's pretty unlikely your opponent's just going to True Love's Kiss it straight up.
Yeah, that seems pretty suspect. And especially if you ever just naturally draw a Teferi or anything, you can really force
exactly.
the action on Greg.
Exactly. You're just not in that much of a rush.
Yeah. James's hand is Doom Foretold, Golden Egg, and a Murderous Rider. So that's a whole lot of nothing over there for James. And looks like he is really hurting this game. A couple of discard spells combined with a mulligan means that James is doing a whole lot of nothing.
Yep. Not even hitting land drops at this point.
Yeah. Of course, we have an egg to try and take a redraw here, but it's tough because, we need to hit land drops, but also we need spells. Because, we just aren't doing anything relevant right now.
Yeah, that's the spot that mulliganing puts you in, is you're just like, well, I need all of it. I just need more.
Yeah, I just need more things,
I just don't have it.
And we look over at Greg's side, and he's got, 3 or 4 cards, plenty of lands, and you can't help but feel like Greg is in a pretty commanding position right now.
Yeah, it's like, well, and you talk about, Greg's played a couple of duresses, vetoed a Teferi at a key point, sure, but other than that, nothing real devastating
nothing
has happened
crazy.
In this game.
Yeah.
James just kind of down that card or two, and it really is just adding up.
Yeah, we'll see if Greg decides to ever activate this Wishclaw Talisman that James gave him. James deployed his Doom Foretold there. And, also, Greg could just end up sacrificing it to Doom Foretold and feel all right about that.
That's totally fine.
Yeah. That's basically a card still. I mean, we talk about how sacrificing things is essentially a card in this matchup, and it is a really important resource. Just having more pieces of cardboard on the field
and especially with your opponent who's not really doing much of anything, I think the incentive to not give them a Demonic Tutor for no reason is just so high.
Definitely. Thought Erasure in hand, as well as Oath of Kaya here from Greg. I'd be kind of surprised to not see the Thought Erasure here.
Yeah, it's tricky. There's a question of whether you want to save it for later when you play something you care about not getting countered, because Thought Erasure does counter Dovin's veto in a way.
Definitely.
Whereas, right now, what does it really look like?
Yeah, not a whole lot. I mean, I would have liked to have just seen Thought Erasure take that egg, I think. I mean,
that's certainly what you take. It's just a question of, do I want to run it out?
You knew he had the egg, right? The egg looks pretty good on this board, honestly.
Yeah, given your opponent has Doom Foretold, it's totally possible that you just okay, no more of these eggs, no more of this nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, you can basically force your opponent to either sacrifice their Murderous Rider or just sacrifice their Doom Foretold and not get a trigger out of it. And getting a trigger out of Doom Foretold, very relevant. That's effectively like a 2-for-1 or whatever.
Yep.
And we're talking about this matchup where it's all about raw cardboard and having more resources. It feels really important to not let that happen if you're Greg.
Greg does. So presuming that Greg has a Planar Cleansing in his deck, he may end up with the, all right, what if I want to just Planar Cleansing, just go Wishclaw Talisman into Planar Cleansing, sort of the classic line, right? James is tapped out here. There's a question whether he has a 7th land for that.
It looks like we're on Greg's upkeep. Doom Foretold trigger on the stack.
Just
going to go ahead and let the Wishcoin Talisman get sacrificed. He'll take a draw step. Appears to be Godless Shrine off the top. I believe Greg's hand is Oath of Kaya, Dance of the Manse, and Thought Erasure. Oath of Kaya, get rid of that Murderous Rider.
Goes on the bottom.
We'll see what else he wants to do with his turn. Looks like he's just going to play a land tapped here. James will sacrifice his Guild Globe.
The nice thing is...
Ooh, another egg.
So good.
Oh, man, right off the top. That's how you do it. What a champion he is. And here's these lands we talked about. James, not doing anything right now, but definitely happy to see these lands.
The Guild Globe's so good there.
Yeah. Here's the Thought Erasure.
No.
Last card is that, and I expect to see just a Dance of the Manse kind of get powered out here.
I think you kind of have to. You can't let your opponent get too far out of line.
Yeah, I mean, when you know your opponent only has a Watery Grave in hand, I'm pretty happy to just take this opportunity to resolve my dance. Yeah, we're just dancing for 3, but... Well, I guess this is pretty underwhelming, to be honest. We're only drawing 1 card and, Lightning Helixing our opponent. Doesn't seem excellent.
I think the bigger point is the effect it has on the whole Doom Foretold situation.
Definitely, very true.
It definitely turns into 3 or 4 or maybe even 5 cards by the end of the whole thing.
That's pretty true. Oath of Kaya off the top here from James. So we'll see if James wants to decide to keep trying to play this Doom Foretold game.
I think he kind of has to. He doesn't have much
else
else going on.
too, yeah. And, with...
This is a great example, by the way, of a point in the match where a True Love's Kiss here is insane.
Oh, absurd, yeah. it is worth noting that right now James has 7 lands in play and could activate a castle on his upkeep to try and find an egg.
Yeah.
If he thinks that is a worthwhile plan for him. Looks like Teferi was the draw here from Greg.
The draw was Teferi. And this is why I think you usually, especially in matchups like this, want to actually just get your Oath of Kaya out of play rather than Guild Globe. Just have one around.
Yeah, Teferi could bounce James's Oath of Kaya here and force him to sacrifice his Doom Foretold on his upkeep.
That's an option, but then you just lose Teferi coming back.
Definitely true, but Teferi did still replace himself and get rid of a Doom Foretold.
Yeah, he's just high enough value in the abstract that I think you want to just do whatever you can to keep him in play.
Well, looks like Greg's going to go for that anyway. Here's the land for turn. Doom Foretold will sacrifice to itself because it has to. James just going to go ahead and take a draw step. Planar Cleansing off the top. I think we're going to hold on to that one for a little bit.
I think we're in too much of a rush to go.
I think we're just going to... Oh, what? We didn't even cast Oath of Kaya?
Well, that seems not astoundingly great.
Yeah, I guess we're getting to Scry 2 with our castle instead. But I think
this lets... The problem is... This lets him do the thing,
Yikes, yeah. Opens Doom Foretold up to be really good. So, Doom Foretold here would just be okay at best without this. There's Dance of the Manse and an Unknown. I assume that Dance of the Manse is hanging out on top.
Yeah, I have to imagine so.
Yeah, Oath of Kyle will get discarded. I wonder if James will just cast the Planar Cleansing here and then just send the turn back. Looks like he elects to go for Dance for 5.
Just going right in for it.
Yeah, so we'll see what all he wants to get. Looks like he will be getting back Wishclaw Talisman.
That makes sense.
Yep, Wishclaw Talisman
find your next
excellent.
dance.
Yeah.
I would actually say that Wishclaw Talisman might just be the main attraction of this dance.
I tend to agree, yeah. Oath of Kaya takes out Teferi. 2 eggs will draw 2 cards for James. We'll see if he finds any lands. He does.
All right.
Still has the Planar Cleansing, and now he's got Doom Foretold working overtime here.
Yeah, just like that, we're back, kind of all the way back. Right?
Yeah, we're kind of all the way back. Yeah, James now feels quite far ahead. 2 Doom Foretolds will trigger. Oath of Kyle will go away. James will sacrifice his second one to draw a card, gain 2 life, and put a 2/2 into play. Also forces Greg to discard a card. I've noticed Greg has been pretty good about keeping one land in his hand to be able to discard to a Doom Foretold.
Yeah, if you can do it, it's pretty valuable to do so.
Definitely. Greg has plenty of lands. He does not need to go crazy or anything. So here is a Teferi. Looks like it's going to bounce his own Doom Foretold. Draw a card will Greg. Guild Globe. Looks like we'll be redeploying our Guild Globe. Looks like Thought Erasure was the draw.
Alright, start there.
Off the Teferi. Negate Planar Cleansing Hallowed Fountain in hand for James. Gonna go ahead and get rid of the Planar Cleansing. And here is the Guild Globe. Leave James with a negate. What do you think about that? I'm not convinced that that's excellent.
Yeah, the question is, how are you going to get back in here?
Yeah.
Who cares if James casts Planar Cleansing? That's great for you.
Exactly. The argument here is that, he'll need to negate my, Dance of the Manse. But, your dances get you so much value on cast that it feels like you're just going to need to do that. Oh, but it looks like Greg does just have a duress, so he'll get the negate out of hand anyway. Sure. So if that's where we're at, then that's where we're at. Seems fine to me. James will sacrifice Oath of Kaya at the start of his turn. Guild Globe the draw. I assume we'll just see that one come down here. James could activate Wishclaw Talisman and just go get a dance and then dance for 6.
Yep, that's totally an option here.
But that does give Greg the Wishclaw Talisman as well.
Well, and it's a 4/4. Oh no, it's not.
It would not be
right?
a 4/4.
No, okay. So another option is just a Teferi.
Yeah, Get Teferi seems pretty appealing as well.
Yeah, just reset the Wishclaw Talisman.
I think you're supposed to go get Teferi there. It's basically free to do so.
Yep.
Right, James just passed the turn and didn't do anything, and he could have done it.
There's no talisman.
Oh, he did not get a talisman.
Oh, okay, I can't see because of that glare.
Got it. Okay, well that changes things then.
Yeah, and so that limits our options quite a bit. Yeah, and now I'm kind of back on did we actually want to dance for 5, but probably had to. So let's see. So where are we
good.
now?
I mean, we've generated quite a bit of an advantage with that dance for 5. But that's to be expected. I mean, dance for 5 is always going to be value, right?
Greg
another
just
Teferi.
It's a Teferi. It doesn't do a ton.
Looks like he will just plus
Teferi and
send it back.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I mean, what are we really doing with our other Teferi? We're just playing it, minusing on nothing, right?
Yep, it's just we're cycling for 3 mana.
Yeah, all right. Here's Scry 2 at end step for James. Looks like Dovin's Veto and land. James wants none of that. I don't hate leaving the Dovin's Veto on top, but I also don't hate trying to find a proactive plan. Teferi, the draw there for James. Be surprised if we didn't see him start with that.
Yep. Get the old up down on probably the golden egg, I guess.
Yep. Of course, Greg will be forced to sacrifice his own Teferi on his next turn.
Yeah, Doom Foretold still chugging right along here.
Yep. The Doom Foretold has made both players sacrifice like 4 permanents at this point or something like that. Like they're really going. I think there's the Kaya's Wrath off the top.
Playing Hearthstone now.
Yeah, well, not anymore. But as soon as Greg sticks this next Teferi, we will be again. Dovin's Veto. That one does not look very good.
You don't think it's good?
Well, he has Teferi, so no. I don't think it's very good.
Oh, Teferi. I cannot see these cards.
James has a Teferi in play. It is the glared out card with the dice on it.
Ah, now I see. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. He sacrificed a permanent, so there's one less.
Yeah. So it looks like Greg played a Teferi, and I think he minused on nothing, which I believe I like that play. Minus no target seems quite good here.
I'm kind of interested in just getting the Doom Foretold out of here.
Yeah, I don't hate that either. Oh, here's Dance.
That must be good.
That's Dance for 5?
Always Dance for 5.
Yeah, Dance for 5. Dance for 5, man. You hate to see it. Of course, James does have the Kaya's Wrath, so actually Dance for 5 might be better here. Because it doesn't actually get rid of all of the permanents, so...
Alright, let's see. So Teferi probably going to get shot down by this Oath of Kaya.
Only has 4 targets to get.
Draw a card.
So...
Or draw 2 cards.
Yeah, draw 2 cards.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, the shooting down the Teferi feels quite good, actually, because now we get to turn our Dovin's Veto back online.
As soon as we unlock all that.
And now James is pretty solidly behind in this Doom Foretold race, whereas he looked monstrumentally ahead. Monstrumentally indeed. It's like monumentally and monstrously ahead.
Wow.
Combined. Monstrumentally.
Yep.
Now we've got a Scry 2
It was
step.
Halloween yesterday, so that's why it's monstrumentally.
Yes, of course. Alright.
Alright, so...
Is that Dance?
No.
No, it's just another dumb egg, looks like.
Hey, eggs are the unsung heroes of this matchup.
Oh, it's a Doom Foretold.
Oh.
Okay.
Well...
So now we have 2 Doom Foretolds in play on James's side. So now it's going to go over to Greg, and Greg's going to have to sacrifice 3 permanents. So
he's happy to do that.
Yeah, no joke. And then it'll go to James, and he'll have to sacrifice 3 permanents.
And he only has 2. Greg's
interesting
first.
ordering. Interesting way that'll pan out, actually.
So Greg's is going to resolve first.
And then
make James sack one of them.
Both of James will resolve.
So the third one, which is his own.
Well, the third one will cause him to discard a card, lose 2 life, and then draw a card, gain 2 life, and make it 2/2.
Hold on.
Yeah, it's weird.
If that player can't, they discard a card, they lose 2 life. You draw a card. Oh my.
Yeah. So what's going to happen here is James will end up sacrificing both of his things, discarding a card, losing 2 life, gaining 2 life, drawing a card, and making it 2/2.
I see.
And then Greg will keep his Doom Foretold in play, and then have to sacrifice on. Oh boy.
Oh, okay. Well,
now
the plot thickens.
Now James will do that twice. So James is going to sacrifice both of his Doom Foretolds, and then discard a card, gain 2 life, draw a card, make it 2/2, and then
do that again.
Do it again. So he's essentially going to mill 2.
Well, not mill 2. He's got a card in hand.
Yeah, so he's going to discard it and then draw one and then discard that. Oh, so I guess mill 1.
Yeah.
Weird. This is a fun interaction here.
Is there? I'm just curious. So,
He does get the 2/2s, yes. So James is going to sacrifice both of those. Then both of his triggers will resolve. So he's going to discard the card in his hand, draw a card, lose 2 life, gain 2 life. Discard the card in his hand, draw a card, lose 2 life, gain 2 life, make 2 2/2s.
I'm really sad
draw a
to
card
fairies here, because if not, the first card that James draws here could be disenchant. He could quickly disenchant the Doom Foretold.
Oh, that would be
And
sick.
then go to this card and draw.
That would be sick, actually. But alas,
No,
all of
Teferi,
our instants
as
are going to be
usual-
turned off.
As usual, Teferi shutting down all the fun.
Yeah. So it looks like the players are just getting the ruling from the judge here, making sure that they understand everything that's going on
That's
here.
a really entangled stack we've created here.
It is. It's very strange.
James will remain at the same life total.
Yep, and he will...
The cards in his hands will change a couple of times.
Yep. He will discard this card, draw 1 card.
Oh, wait. Hold up. We need to discard first.
Yeah. It's discard, then draw. It's actually discard, then draw, right?
No, they all resolve one at a time. It's discard, draw, right?
Well, so James goes...
So each Doom Foretold resolves it individually.
Oh, yeah. Da. I got tripped up myself. It looks like James going to...
You just get the third card.
Scry 2 in response to the second one?
That makes sense.
Yeah, I buy that.
We need to hit a good one.
Yeah, this makes sense to me.
Or we want to hit a good one at least. We actually don't need to hit a good one. We're doing fairly okay.
Yeah, it doesn't feel particularly doomed quite yet, pun intended.
This has been an exciting upkeep.
Yeah, no joke. Very exciting upkeep, I would say.
All right, so where are we at when the dust settles?
All right, so it looks like...
We Ashiok going down.
And then that's the card that he draws for turn, which is Kaya's Wrath.
Well, no, he gets to still draw a card for turn.
James should not end up with 2 cards in hand.
Yes, he should. He started with
Oh,
one.
you're right.
Yeah. Now he draws for turn up to 2.
Because it's discard, draw, draw.
Those ones can't attack, James.
Yeah. Those cards cannot attack, but I get it. It's been a long time since they've
Oh,
been
it really
made.
has. You feel like, well, these cards have been around for a good 5 minutes.
Kaya's Wrath and Swamp, not the non-stop bangers that James was looking for. Quite yet. We'll see what Greg wants to do on his upkeep now.
Yep. The legend continues, as they say.
Greg has to sacrifice 2 permanents on his upkeep, so it's probably going to be Teferi and Doom Foretold.
Yeah, I have to imagine so.
Yeah.
You kind of need to get to the point, and I really, really, really would have liked to see James hold the swamp knowing that this was going to happen.
Yeah, I think so too.
Not that Kaya's Wrath is the greatest card in the deck, but
Better than Swamp, that's for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. Here is a Teferi once more. Teferi will bounce a 2/2. Greg will draw a card.
Nice.
Thought Erasure.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't seem relevant.
Wait. Oh, yes.
Yeah,
right.
James was going to have to discard that card anyway.
Well,
I mean, I guess we're
we're
surveilling.
surveilling,
but
right,
still, I'm not a huge fan of that.
Probably wasn't an intended interaction. Especially when next turn we could have plussed and draw step the Erasure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think Greg already minus this turn, but yes, next turn he definitely could.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Just wait.
So, James, end of turn scryed. I didn't quite catch what he did with those scries, but we'll see what the top card is. An attack 4/2 at Teferi. Greg will trade. We'll see what else James has going on
What's
here.
going on?
Looks like go.
Okay.
Yikes. So that must have been bottom off the scry.
I guess so.
And then whiff on the draw step.
I can't imagine wanting to.
If I'd bottomed, I might have scryed again on upkeep.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of lands in play here, and we can't
sure.
really afford to miss right now. Feels like for opponent ever hits anything relevant. I think he has Dance in hand, Greg does. So I expect plus go.
If we plus, it could end.
Yeah. Yep. Looks like plus Teferi go. Scry 2 will James.
Better be good.
Okay. Untap. Upkeep Scry 2. Bottom
This doesn't
again.
leave us with a ton
Yikes.
of mana.
I think he's just dead, though. Like, he has Dovin's Veto and land.
Veto doesn't
Yeah,
like
and now Greg's going to end step dance, and that is going to be lethal. That is not
Teferi here.
allowed.
And there's plenty this time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course, Doom Foretold.
So let's see here. Doom Foretolds will kill themselves. What's going on? How many eggs are there?
Looks like there are...
Two Doom
Two?
Foretolds.
3? I think there's 3.
3 eggs and an
Two Doom
Oath of
Foretolds,
Gaia.
3 Doom
That's
Foretolds, and Oath of
16,
Gaia.
I guess we're not quite done here. Oh, no, because the Teferi can get sacked.
Yeah.
Which means... Yeah,
So we'll be sacking Teferi into Doom Foretold, but it looks like that's enough for
they've
James
done the math,
anyway.
yeah, I think he was
And
dead.
with that, I believe Greg will be taking that match over James. That was a pretty fun one. There's quite a bit of play there.
When you say it's the Esper Stacks mirror, it doesn't sound like a lot's going to go on, and it was surprisingly action-packed.
Yeah,
for
it
nobody
was,
casting
it
any
was, it
creatures,
was.
like almost at all.
All right. So with that, we are going to be thanking our second sponsor for the stream for the night. Die Hard Dice is an excellent metal dice brand. They make dice for your tabletop games, and they're the best dice in the business. If you like tabletop games, Warhammer, Dungeons and Dragons, any type of role-playing game, Steven can vouch. They are the best. They feel great to roll. They're nice and heavy. They make excellent dice trays, and they're just so awesome to have in your sessions for any type of important event. They just feel the best to play with. And if you are into any of that sort of stuff, I highly recommend Die Hard Dice. We have some in the store here at Paradise Games. So if you're looking to upgrade into the best possible role-playing equipment, I recommend Die Hard Dice. Thank you so much to Die Hard Dice for supporting the stream. And with that, we will leave you with some Catpacity and a very quick break. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back with the fourth and final round for the night. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the fourth and final round of tonight's standard tournament. We have James playing green-black mid-range versus Michael on Sultai tokens.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Steven, go ahead. Take it away. What do you got?
The card on the screen is the right one. It's the Assassin's Trophy show out here.
Oh, yeah, this is everything that Steven could possibly be dreaming
Get
of.
some
The
swamps into play.
The mid-range master
Let's
himself, Stephen Boston, the dean of the 3-color mid-range academy, headmaster of 2-color mid-range academy.
So despite having some similar cards and similar colors in them, these decks I'm pretty sure are quite different.
Almost certainly, yeah. Notably, Michael playing cards like Oko. He tries to do things with tokens, like I believe he's playing Wildborn.
The one that gets a counter every time you get a token into play.
Yeah, Wildborn Champion, I believe.
Got Dreadhorde Invasion.
Dreadhorde Invasion, indeed, yes.
Sure.
Dreadhorde Invasion and Oko, quite powerful.
Those are good cards.
Yeah. So it looks like we're seeing Michael take a quick mulligan. James jumped the gun a little bit with just slapping his Overgrown Tomb into play. He's like, we both know what's going on
Don't
here.
matter.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want. James has his
untapped though, so that's pretty spooky. You know, you gotta know something's coming.
And he has his adventure thing ready up in the corner there. The adventure.
You want to take bets on what's going on here?
Yeah.
What this untapped Overgrown Tomb means?
Right,
What do you think
of
it
course.
is?
Well, there's a pretty strong initial candidate, and that would be the card Edgewall Innkeeper.
What about Lovestruck Beast? A little bit of Heart's Desire going on?
Could happen. Totally on the table.
Yeah, I buy that one.
Yeah, some kind of 1/1's getting into play. Could be a Foulmire Knight, but
oh yeah, we're getting these 1/1s into play for sure. All right, so is this a mulligan to 5 for Michael? That would be not great.
That is what it looks like.
But that's what it looks like. That's let me tell you, Steven, I remember my first year in Mid-Range Academy, and I remember taking Don't Mulligan to 5 in the Mirror 101. And let me tell you, if I learned anything about mid-range from Mid-Range Academy, it's that you don't mulligan to 5 in the Mirror. It's not a good way to win the game.
No, it's true.
All right, well, here is the Edgewall Innkeeper that we discussed earlier. Turn 1, Goose from Michael. We'll make a food.
Honk. Love me a good gilded goose.
Oh, yeah. Big fan of the geese here. Assassin's Trophy in hand from Michael. Whoa.
Whoa, we're serious.
So down there. Honk, honk. Gosh.
Yeah, I'm not real into Assassin's Trophy and Gilded Goose. But
holy. What do you think that goose did to James in a past life, man? He just snapped it off. He didn't even think about it. He just looked at that. He just slapped it on the table and then just like pushed it a little bit over the goose. It's so good.
I guess it is worth mentioning, between Oko, between the Wildborn Preserver, all these things, like.
Yeah, the goose has a role, man.
But this still might have been a little bit early to be doing that.
That is aggressive, to say the least. But I guess we'll see how it ends up working out.
The silver lining is that we get to get in with Edgewall Innkeeper.
Yeah, now here's the turn 2 Oko. It's happening no matter what.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good way to make this Moldify feel a little better.
Food is still here, too.
Yeah, I wonder if we're making this food into a 3/3?
Something like that.
Yeah, that looks like what's happening here. Make the food into an elk.
Yep.
Will Michael. We're going to see an attack for 3 here. Seems likely. I don't know. 1 damage on Oko doesn't seem like it matters too much, most likely. Although this Edgewall Innkeeper might be good for us. I think I see a Lovestruck Beast in our hands, so maybe we get a little extra value.
Edgewall Innkeeper are always good.
If we want to, take that Edgewall Innkeeper from our opponent a little bit later down the line with our Oko.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, give ourselves a little extra value.
If we wanted to do that, we just plus, right? Or +2?
Yeah, then we would have +2.
Hard to say.
Once Upon a Time from James.
This is unfortunate. You never want Once Upon a Time to be exactly your 3rd spell.
Yeah.
First fine, second sometimes okay, 3rd spell and it's starting to get bad.
Or the 7th spell's good too.
Yeah, totally.
Where you're
refilling, it's like a bell curve.
Right in the middle there is not where you want to be. Let's see what James finds. We'll see if anything sticks out to him as what he needs to piece this game together. Alright, looks like Temple of Malady is what he's gravitating towards. Hey, you need lands, man. I remember...
If you need a land, you need a land, but it's really rough for that to be what we need.
Yeah, I remember my sophomore year of Mid-Range Academy when I walked into play your lands every turn 102. You know? And yeah, if I learned anything from that course...
Clearly I need to review your coursework. Alright, so Oko down to 4 here.
Here is Foulmire Knight. That'll draw one card.
A card off the old edge wall.
Yeah, pretty good. Send the turn back on over to Michael.
Yes.
So you've been playing a little bit of this Green-Black Adventures deck. What's kind of your summary of this deck, if I might pick your mind about your thesis on Green-Black Adventures?
Wall, Innkeeper. So basically, we're an Edgewall Innkeeper deck with a bunch of adventures, and then we're also a Green-Black mid-range deck. I don't know how much updating James has done to his deck since the card Field of the Dead was banned from this format. Before, a big feature of our deck was we had Questing Beast into Vivian, which lets you pressure people through zombie tokens or really whatever.
Yeah.
That's way less important now, and we have to be a little bit more concerned about things like, the Oko that's in play, for example.
Absolutely.
So, if I was playing a Green-Black Adventure deck in this tournament or in a standard tournament today, it's pretty likely that I'd have some main deck Noxious Grasps, for example, and probably not Questing Beast and that kind of thing. But it really does depend a lot on what exactly James's configuration is. There's versions of this deck that have Lucky Clover and Smitten Swordmaster and are trying to burn their opponent out. That doesn't seem to be what we're doing here from what I can see on the table, but it could be, still hiding in the deck. So, this can go a lot of directions, basically. But Edgewall Innkeeper is excellent, and is always the start the deck
very
wants.
good. Yeah,
Multiples even better. Is that a second one we've got
that is
coming
the
in?
second Edgewall Innkeeper. So it looks like Temple of Malady, Scrytop, Edgewall Innkeeper, the play for turn. Michael, on the other hand, played himself a Lovestruck Beast with a Heart's Desire attached, made himself a food with Oko, and now we've got some pretty juicy attacks here for Michael. We do have that Foulmire Knight that probably gets to trade with a Lovestruck Beast, but are we really that upset about that? We still have our 1/1s getting in, and Oko gets to make these food into 3/3s.
We might not be upset that the Lovestruck Beast is trading with the Foulmire Knight. What we are upset about is those two Edgewall Innkeepers. When you look,
definitely.
When you're in basically any deck in this format and you're staring at your opponent who has two Edgewall Innkeepers, you've got to think something horrible is going to happen if they untap that way.
Yeah, especially with Scrytop.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, so, if I'm Michael, I'm thinking, is there anything at all I can do this turn that forces my opponent to block or lets me just kill one?
Well, there's also the potential of Oko plus on an Edgewall Innkeeper.
Oh. Pratt's brought up, Michael has 11 permanents untapping on his 4th turn of the game.
Oh, jeez.
Just a couple.
Yeah, it's a good few. It looks like Michael's going to steal Foulmire Knight with Oko, give his opponent food.
I'm into that.
Yeah, that seems good. Now we definitely have good attacks.
Although, could have considered just stealing the Edgewall Innkeeper. I think the reason we make this attack here is just because, James is at 12. At some point he has to start thinking about, do I want to block?
James has a Nissa in his hand as well. So we'll see. It looks like James is going to have to chump the Lovestruck Beast. He'll only take 3 this way, putting him down to 9. Yeah, if he just took that whole thing, that's an attack for 8.
This is a pretty good spot for Michael now because, one Edgewall Innkeeper is so much less than 2. It's at least 3 less.
Absolutely. Here's Dreadhorde Invasion from Michael. Incredibly powerful with Oko.
Yep.
Makes a 4/4 every turn for the measly cost of 2 mana and 1 life.
And it's a lot of pressure.
It's so much, yeah. It's going to be really hard for James to actually beat that.
James now is looking at the board, and he's got a Planeswalker he needs to deal with, an enchantment he probably needs to deal with, a whole bunch of creatures.
Yeah, let's see what got left on top.
He taps with 4 lands, now a 5th.
We do have a Nissa in hand, and it looks like that's definitely an adventure. I think it's probably a Lovestruck Beast that he drew for his turn there.
That's not the worst. Get a couple of things on the board.
Must just be Rosethorn Acolyte?
Oh.
No, it is Lovestruck Beast.
Okay.
It is Lovestruck Beast. So here is the Lovestruck Beast. It'll make a 1/1.
Yep. So we've got some blockers in play, but the problem is Michael's just getting advantage turn over turn.
Yeah, and like we get to draw a card off our Lovestruck Beast here from the Edgewall Innkeeper, which feels quite good. But still, we're going to be struggling to deal with Dreadhorde Invasion plus Oko.
Right, of course.
And already, you know, if Michael just makes something into a 3/3 and just jams in there or whatever, like James is
dying,
James is going to feel obligated to trade Lovestruck Beast. Probably, and then we still just have good attacks, you know? So let's see if James can find anything else to help him out. Another Filemire Knight would be quite good here, but it doesn't look like he has it. So Michael, go ahead and take an untap. Here comes a zombie. Mm-hmm. It is a 1/1. Michael will lose a life to 18. Man, Michael's board is
there's so much.
Is all over the place. He was not joking about this whole tokens thing. Look at all these tokens. What's the
permanent count here?
Yeah, it's like 13. It's absurd. Land off the top from Michael. I believe Overgrown Tomb was the one. Let's see what he wants to do now. I mean, like I said, it feels like we've got good attacks. We just need to find the best attacks.
Some kind of attackers are going to get declared, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And, you know, maybe Michael elects to just slow it down a little bit and, you know, maybe just, like, chip in for one with a Filemire Knight or something like that. You could also potentially turn James's Lovestruck Beast into a 3/3, and that allows your Lovestruck Beast to have great attacks, and James will probably feel obligated to do something weird about that. It looks like that's the line Michael goes for. So, Lovestruck Beast, now a 3/3, and I think we're just getting in with the team here.
Yep.
Looks like Michael agrees. It looks like he's leaving
it's for blockers.
The 1/1 at home from Heart's Desire.
Sure, that makes sense. You don't want to. So there's.
If you want to be able to keep up your pressure,
it gets eaten. You know.
You are attacking with 2 1/1s here, so if James, you know, traded with both of them or whatever.
Yeah, it's likely, but I think it's just fine to make this attack here like this. You know, keep a 1/1 back so that you don't have to worry about it.
Yep, I tend to agree. I think this is a good attack from Michael. It looks like James will take 4 down to 8 and chump away the Lovestruck Beast with a 1/1. We'll see what else Michael wants to do, if anything.
We're going to need a big turn from James here to get back in.
Yeah. Looks like Overgrown Tomb tapped, send it on back over to James. I'm thinking something like Find Finality, or even that is really just solves an immediate problem, not a permanent problem.
Yeah, and then your opponent just gets a 1/1 and hits you back for 5.
Yeah.
I guess you get your own 5/5 at the end of it, so that's not so bad, but...
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, here is Fabled Passage. It'll find Michael a forest, or James a forest, excuse me. So we'll see if James wants to do any attacking. Potentially we need to try and pressure Oko so that he can't just start making 4/4s every turn.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that, you know, we're fighting okay back and forth, just like trying to block and not die. Ooh, here comes the Finality.
Yeah, here's Finality. So it looks like Lovestruck Beast will get back into its 5/5 state. It'll kill everything.
It's taken quite a journey getting there.
Yeah, and then we get to hit Oko for 1 or whatever. You know, not the end of the world. Fortunately, our Edgewall Innkeeper will perish.
Kind of have to weigh here. Do we want to hit Oko to 1 in exchange for 5 of our 8 life points?
Yeah, probably not. We probably just need to be able to trade.
Yeah. And because this is also the only thing we're going to have that can trade, right?
Yeah, if we were killing Oko, then right. I'm into it, but we definitely aren't. We're just hitting it for 1.
But we're doing it.
Well, looks like Oko will take 1. Oh, was Oko? Oko couldn't have been at 1. That is only a 1-power creature.
I think that we just weren't quite tracking the creature's power and toughness.
So Oko will go to 1.
It does have a number of effects changing that number.
Yeah, there's quite a few. All right, Michael, take a damage. Make a 1/1. Draw a card.
Now the Lovestruck Beast is clear for takeoff.
Yeah, Lovestruck Beast gets to attack. Oh, I think that was another Lovestruck Beast off the top for Michael as well. That's very good. So now Michael needs to be a little careful with his sequencing here. He needs to make sure he attacks first. He will. James will go to 3.
Right on to 3.
Yep. And then I think he's just going to play both halves of Love Struck Beast, make this zombie into a 4/4, and then move on.
Say go, figure it out.
Yeah. Here is the Heart's Desire.
Putting
making
into
a
the
1/1.
exile zone as a formality before we cast it here.
So
Oh, maybe not.
taking a think. Taking a quick tank here is Michael. I can't imagine we're doing anything other than
Well, we're
casting
so far
other
ahead, we
spells.
may as well think about it for a second.
Yeah, but like the rats in this deck are, -4/-4, and we're playing 5/5s. Like, you can't really feel too bad about it.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe you want to, plus to make a food instead of plussing to make this into a 4/4. But I don't even think that's true. I think we just want to make a 4/4 and make James find a way to deal with it. Well, it looks like Michael wants a food, as a matter of fact. So, well, who might argue with the man? I'm hungry too. I'm excited for dinner after this tournament. Looking forward to it. All right, Michael's going to need a good one. It's going to start with Planar Cleansing. I can see it now. Rose-Thorn Acolyte, Rose-Thorn Acolyte, Rose-Thorn Acolyte, Planar Cleansing. What do you think?
This is like a great line.
Yeah, I think that's the best line he can have here, so.
We're right back in it at that point.
Yeah, at that point we're winning,
Yeah,
I think.
3/2/3's queued up.
Yeah, I think we're winning there.
Anything else, though, might be rough.
Yeah, I think we're probably just dead here, but, James looks like he's going to give it the good fight.
Yep.
Make
Make
his
his will
opponent
draw
kill
your card.
him, yeah. Take a draw step. See what we got. Looks like a whole bunch of nothing. Looks like James will take one last look at the board. Think back to Mid-Range Academy. Note Mulligan to 5 in the mirror 101.
Oh, no.
Wonder how we got here. Pretty unfortunate series of events. Michael's 5-card hand was excellent.
At the 200 level, we teach when to concede.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Perhaps James is taking that concurrently.
Yeah, this may become part of our assigned coursework. It's really an interesting spot. Do I see?
There
what
is a
my
round
opponent-
timer here.
Right? No,
you know?
yeah, but it's like, do I see what my opponent does for style points? It's always good to get a read on them with that.
Oh, true. If your opponent really goes for the swag kill, you can probably get some info for
Exactly.
later games.
It's important because sometime down the line, it's possible that these two players will play again in a different format where Settle the Record is involved, and you got to know.
Oh, no, I don't want to talk about that. I've made some attacks into Settle the Wreckage that did not need to be made in the past.
Yep. It's just like, when it comes time to ultimate your Vivian Reed and just send with the whole team, you gotta know whether your opponent's gonna roll it right into that Settle the Wreckage or not. It's an important part of your planning.
Vivian Reed and Vraska. I ultimated both of them. My opponent's life total became 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. I still won that game in case anybody out there is wondering. But boy, should I not have. My opponent, I made one particularly bad play, and then my opponent made a series of them after that
I guess the
allowed me to
question
win that
here
game.
is,
But
I don't think either of you top aided, so who was the real winner?
I won that tournament. I got first place at that tournament.
That's right.
What are you talking about? Actual first place.
Well, back in the standards,
Yeah, that'll do it.
moving on to game 2.
Michael cleaning up the first game. Let's take a look at both players' sideboards. Michael, he's got 1 Questing Beast, 2 Legion's End, 3 Duress, 4 Mystical Dispute, 2 The Elder Spell, and 3 Witch's Vengeance. What sounds good to you?
Mystical Dispute, oh my. So, depending on James' configuration, Witch's Vengeance could be pretty good. It didn't look like it should be, so probably leaving that one at home. Legion's End's the one, though. That one's gonna
that
win
one
for
looks
sure.
good. Questing Beast also looks pretty appealing.
Best in Queast, that's a nice one. On the other side, we've got, Crawler Boon, Veil Summers, Duress, Shifting Ceratops, Noxious Grasp, which I think is definitely coming in. We've got the Elder Spell, Old Thrashing Brontodon, which is, I think, totally on the board, and then Massacre Girl. So I think we definitely want the Massacre Girl because you can clean up bigger boards like the one we were just looking at.
Massacre Girl would have done a number on that board.
2 Noxious Grasps I mentioned would probably have been in my main deck if I was James, so I'd like them to start being in my deck after the sideboard game.
Certainly.
Veil of Summer. Michael's deck
isn't super focused on spot removal, at least in game 1, so it's hard to say whether or not you want it in game 2, but it's probably like, if I'm James, I probably don't really know, and I'm willing to just put one in.
Yeah, I think that you're kind of hedging with the Veil of Summers on whether or not you think your opponent will be bringing in Duress. And it's definitely not the worst card against your green-black deck. It's mostly creature-based, but you do have some pretty potent instants of sorceries, and Duress is good at is a good plan at some point. You know, if you can Duress a Find Finality, that is often very crucial. And if your opponent's bringing in those, I'm definitely in on Veil of Summers, and if they aren't, well, less so, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and so, basically I do think that it's likely that the Veil of Summer should just come in. Duress I don't think is doing it, but...
Your opponent's playing blue and black. I mean, at the very least, they're going to cycle.
Right,
know?
Of course.
And Veil of Summer just is often too good.
Yep.
It's just often good for no reason, and even in a random case where they try to Oko plus on your 5/5 or whatever, you can get your card back and prevent it.
Right.
Alright, so it looks like players have decided their sideboard configuration. They're just going to shuffle it up.
We're here ready to roll.
For the second game. We'll see if Michael can take it down in a clean 2-0, or if James can fight back with his Edgewall Innkeepers and crew. Alright, after watching the first game, do you feel like Michael's significantly favored in this matchup? Or do you think James has the tools to fight back?
The game could definitely go either way. I think I'd rather be Michael's seat. It's hard to not want to play the best card in Magic, so...
Oh, calm down. Oko is only probably the second best card, Ancestral Recall exists.
Yeah, but you can't play that. So my position, for anyone who's interested, is Oko Thief of Crowns is the best card in Magic that you're allowed to play with.
Now that's the hot pioneer take we asked for earlier.
Yeah. Pioneer's a big part of that.
Yeah, that's pretty absurd. Oko is ludicrous.
Yep,
just
completely
by the
ludicrous.
Way. Just by the way,
absolutely absurd. If you haven't played against that card yet, I recommend being the one with it.
I recommend not.
Yeah. The other part.
Oko is so hard to beat.
Yep.
Every time.
It's
your deck really needs to have a plan for Oko, and if your plan is I don't care about Oko, reevaluate.
Right.
Because you do. Because
it's
it just
actually
makes
funny.
3/3s.
It's one
absurd.
of those cards too that you read and you're like, it seems like pretty decent or whatever, and as soon as it gets into play,
it's
you're
just
like,
insane.
It doesn't even take any time. You just immediately like, wow,
I'm so dead. Yeah. All right. Well, it looks like both of our players taking a look at their opening sevens here. Michael on the mulligan again, and James most likely keeping his hand, given that he is on the play. So we'll see if Michael can find a keepable 6 here and doesn't have to go to 5 again. But
matters a lot.
let me tell you, if Michael manages to BM win on 2 Molda 5s on the draw both games, oh yeah, that's the rubbins for sure.
Brad's out here looking for another Goose Trophy.
Oh, the Goose Trophy was the highlight of last game for sure. He put that goose on his wall. James, big fan of taxidermy, loves putting geese on the wall.
It's because of the honk.
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 Honk, honk.
You can't leave that around.
It just keeps honking.
Can't abide that.
All right, let's see if Michael thinks that this hand is let's see if Michael thinks this hand is keepable. Nope. Down to 5. Yikes. So now Michael's really going for the BM here. This is the ultimate rubbins, the double Molda 5. Michael's last Molda 5 was admittedly excellent, so we'll see if he can manage to repeat it.
I'm a busy person, so I often don't play with the sounds on Arena.
Indeed, I tend to feel the same.
Yeah. But today I did, and I got to hear the various things that Oko Thief of Crowns says.
I've never heard any of them. What are they?
They're delightfully arrogant, shall we say?
Absolutely.
They really drive home the feeling you get when you're playing with Oko Thief of Crowns.
That's perfect. That's perfect. All right. Looks like Michael will put 2 cards on the bottom of his deck.
I think I saw Goose Oko in his hand, which makes me like his hand.
I saw at least a goose. If he has Oko, then we're just really doing it.
Yep.
Looks like Overgrown Tomb will enter the battlefield tapped for James. Here's Breeding Pool untapped and a Goose.
Yeah, okay, 18.
For Michael.
Your turn.
Yep. All right, let's see if we have the thing.
Honk.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely an Oko.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
Let's go.
James is like, can I get a break? How are you ever supposed to beat turn 2 Oko ever? It's true. How are you ever supposed to beat turn 2 Oko ever? It's ridiculous. I'm listening. I got nothing. It's so hard to
I'm
beat.
waiting to see what the play is here. So
Yeah.
we're going to start with the Once Upon a Time.
This one free, of course, despite it being turn 2. This is the first spell James has cast. Looks like Lovestruck Beast will be added to James's hand. So, we'll see what he wants to do with
Brett
that.
says he's had success with Prismite beating Oko.
Prismite beating Oko is, I've heard this story, and I still don't quite remember how it was true. I can only imagine that...
I'll tell you that Heart's Desire, while maybe a piece of the puzzle...
it ain't it, Chief.
Yeah.
Lovestruck Beast off the top from Michael.
That's not Oko.
Yeah, no, but this is.
Yeah, here it comes.
Here comes the Oko, making a food, presumably.
Oh, yeah.
And now James is just going to be feeling the pressure. You know? Like,
And this is why they pay him the big bucks.
yeah, no joke. This is why everybody on Facebook's name is now Elk.
Yep.
And this is why my Facebook feed and my Twitter feed is filled with nothing but elk memes. It's because everything's an elk.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
James really needs to kill this Oko right now. I think
Yeah,
we're gonna
yeah,
start
it
out of
has
control.
to be now. Oh, but he
Alright.
does have the Assassin's Trophy.
Trophy not the best answer, but it killing it's killing it. So
Yeah, perhaps he learned his lesson from last game, where no longer trophying these geese, and perhaps trophying the Okos that literally always follow them. It's fine, I swear. So Michael is going to need a follow-up of some kind to be able to...
well, we said he had a Lovestruck Beast, right? So that's not the worst.
Yeah, that's a something, but without the continual value engine of like a Planeswalker or perhaps one of Michael's auras or enchantments, he is going to inevitably fall behind because of his
Absolutely.
mulligan to 5. Another Lovestruck Beast off the top.
Pass it
Go?
over? What is this?
Was that go? It must not have been.
No.
Yeah, it looks like Michael's still fidgeting. I think that must have just been a missed body read there on the camera. So, let's see what Michael decides to do. I do like Heart's Desire into Lovestruck Beast. It does eat our food, but that doesn't
Michael-
feel too bad.
That hand motion was Michael asked James if he watched Star Trek, and James erupted with laughter and said, "Of course."
Excellent. Excellent banter. I approve. 10 out of 10 banter. Is banter a 400 level course in Mid-Range Academy?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I would assume so. It's quite difficult.
Yep.
How are you supposed to
It's
play
actually-
your
it's
difficult
actually-
matches?
It's a 3-course series.
Oh, the 4 to 3 course series, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mid-range banter.
Yeah, the final course is taught by Derek Jones. He's really an expert on the subject.
That's an excellent local joke for any Seattle grinders out there.
All right, well, James rolling it in with a Fabled Passage, getting a Forest.
Yep, you got to do what you got to do. You know, player lands, player spells. Pretty classic. Let's see what James wants to do. He does still have that Lovestruck Beast out on an adventure, so we'll see if he can do anything potent with that. I think he's got a Questing Beast in his hand as well.
Keeper?
Oh, Edgewall Innkeeper
Let's go.
into Lovestruck Beast. I'm into that.
So
Draw a
we asked
card.
about this matchup and who's got an advantage and what's going on. This is what James winning looks like.
Oh, yeah.
Edgewall Innkeeper, get my guys into play,
Yeah.
keep your Oko off the
Block,
table.
yeah. Dreadhorde Invasion off the top for Michael.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it doesn't feel particularly good, though, either, that's
Yep.
for sure. Here's an attack for 5.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
see if James wants to trade. I expect that he just does, right?
On one hand, I expect to trade because I have an Edgewall Innkeeper in play, and on the other hand, I'm already ahead on live.
Yeah, I tend to... That's kind of the argument I had in my head. Like, oh, well, we are winning the race currently, but also, I've just got an Edgewall Innkeeper, you know? Let's let this game go. I'm going to win the game eventually. So here is another Love-Struck Beast. I don't know if you've noticed the theme of this match yet, but it's Love-Struck Beast.
Yeah, that there's more than a couple of those cards in play.
Yeah. So here is an untapped step for James. James still has Questing Beast, but can't get it through all these bloody 5/5s. They're just floating around. I'm pretty sure James just drew Love-Struck Beast again, too. This is absurd. I didn't know that we signed up for the Bachelor in the 4th round of tonight. You know? Like, you know.
Sometimes the Bachelor signs up for you.
Yeah, no, apparently.
Of course, again, the thing is...
Every time he does
Love-Struck
this, he
Beast
goes up a
change.
card, yeah. Alright, so... Here's 4 mana. Vraska. Oh, hello.
Okay, that's good.
Alright. Vraska kill Love-Struck Beast. What do you think about that as opposed to
I want that
killing
Edgewall out of here.
That's where I landed too.
I get why we're taking the Love-Struck Beast. You know, we want to control
opens
the
up some
board.
attacks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't think we can win that way.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like Michael's plan is to get aggressive here. And James is missing land drops, which means that, well, his hand is all spells. So if he continues to miss land drops, you might be able to power through. But still, it feels like it's going to be hard to compete with all of the resources that James is going to be accruing. Alright, well, there is an attack for 5. James will just go ahead and toss a 1/1 in front of it. There's a swamp off the top for James.
Now the question is, all right, what do you got? You've been drawing all these cards.
Yeah, what's the best thing you can do now? You have
These-
5 mana. Is it Nissa?
Right.
You know, Nissa would be an excellent one. Michael doesn't really have any pertinent blockers. He's just got a bunch of 1/1s. Looks like 4 mana. Questing Beast will do the trick for sure. Just gets to go right at Michael. It's going to kill Vraska too. So Michael will go to 11.
Yeah, this is nice.
Oh yeah, this one's quite good. And just send the turn back. Not quite Nissa,
Not incredible, like,
but it is quite good.
even like a Falmire Knight, for example, might have been better, but that's a good start.
Yeah, this is a good turn regardless. Killing Vraska, definitely quite relevant. I mean,
Love-Struck
Michael has
Beast
a bunch
coming
of
right back
random
in.
tokens or whatever.
Now the question is, do you trade the Questing Beast?
Yeah.
Have to imagine so, though it does give me pause. You know, if I'm James, like, well, what is he going to follow up with a Planeswalker? He doesn't want to get attacked. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, for sure. Maybe you just take the 5 here and, you know, be a little speculative. I don't hate that line. Just taking a 5 here. I'm not a huge fan of Chump with my 1/1 though.
Oh, that is the... Yeah, that is not the option.
Yeah, I would either trade or take 5, I think. I don't really love chumping away my resources in the mid-range mirrors. That's...
Dreadhorde Invasion, though.
It should win Michael the game eventually if James never finds an answer.
Well,
But
the thing is, the Questing Beast hits Michael to 7. The Dreadhorde Invasion takes him to 6. I mean, we're getting kind of precariously low on life here.
also very true. And there's the Nissa off the top we were
Oh,
talking
boy.
about. But it looks like the Nissa isn't going to be rumbling
Is that not a
today.
Nissa?
It definitely was, but I think he might just have other plans for the turn. We'll see what James wants to do. Looks like more Edgewall Innkeeper. Alright, I'm behind this. Whatever this plan is, I like it already. Are we playing an Edgewall Innkeeper and any creature with adventure? 2 mana here. Order of Midnight, perhaps? Order of Midnight, indeed. Get back Love-Struck Beast? Hello. And Heart's Desire.
We casting the Order of Midnight as well?
No, he just left it in adventure. He decided to get the Love-Struck Beast back, play another Love-Struck Beast. We're really on The Bachelor right now.
Sure.
In case you haven't caught up, yeah. So, looks like there is...
Yeah, this is a pretty good turn. I mean, we're back on the table.
Yeah, next turn's going to be absurd. We're going to draw like 4 cards. We're probably going to play Nissa too. This is going to be really hard for Michael to actually beat. And like, granted, we're never going to kill ourselves.
The goose making food, though. I mean, we have a little bit of a life buffer.
Yeah, I mean, we're never really going to kill ourselves with this Dreadhorde Invasion or anything.
Right, of course not.
But I just don't know how we're going to win the game.
Yeah,
After a long time. And yeah, Michael agrees. Save ourselves the time. He's clearly taken the 300 level course on conceding. And he knows we don't have all day for game 3. I want to win this one. So with that, Michael will give game number 2 over to James, and he will be on the play for the third game, and hopefully not plagued by as many mulligans in this third game. You know, he went for the full swag on your opponent, just mollify both games on the draw, both games, and beat him anyway, but when it ended up biting him in the second game there.
Yeah.
Although he did have turn 2 Oko both games.
Yeah, absolutely.
How absurd do you think the plan of mulligan to turn 2 Oko is in this format? Are you just supposed to go to 5 trying to find turn 2
Depends a lot
Oko?
what deck you're playing. Like, Michael's deck is significantly less concerned about that sort of thing than, for example, like the Simic Food deck that people play is.
Yeah.
With Simic Food, especially if you don't know the matchup or think it might be the mirror or something like that, you're pretty incentivized to mulligan pretty aggressively to some sort of good start, whether it be turn 2 Oko or turn 3 Nissa or whatever.
Yeah.
With Michael's deck, especially in a matchup like this, you're not really planning on play Oko on turn 2 and just kind of snowball the game. You have more of a plan where it's like, all right, I'm going to play this, get some value, play this, get some value.
We have a lot of permanents that are planning to eventually
get a lot of
snowball the
permanents in play.
Just turns out that Oko is the best at that.
Yep.
All right, so both players presenting their decks here, and let's go ahead and take a look at both players' opening hands here as they draw their 7. We're looking for good, clean Magic, no mulligans on either side. Turn 2 Oko is permitted, but frowned upon.
So far. We will continue casting Oko on turn 2 until they tell us we are not allowed to cast Oko anymore.
Yeah. Speaking of which, let's take a look at Michael's hand. I think I do see the Oko in it, but I do not have a good look at any of the other cards. We'll see if he has a turn 1 Accelerant. Oh, no. Oh, okay. Whew. I thought James was going to get the 3-game Oko on turn 2 special, and I don't know, James, but I would not wish that upon my worst enemy.
We should all be so lucky as we get to meet Oko so quickly so many times.
I would not wish that upon anyone. So here is the turn 1 Heart's Desire. Michael attacking for 1. James, of course, not willing to trade his Edgewall Innkeeper. Never, says Steven.
Are you dead on board?
If no, then not trading my Edgewall Innkeeper. Here's a tapped Overgrown Tomb from Michael. Send it back over to James. Of course, next turn, we know, assuming that Michael has that blue mana, we should be seeing Oko come down. So James will need to do something relatively good this turn to be able to kind of play ball with that commanding of a board state.
And in spots like this, you have to ask yourself the question, all right, my opponent played their second mana. Darn it, I was hoping they missed that. Now what do I do if they just go Island Oko?
Yeah, pretty dead, yeah. Yeah, pretty dead.
So it's not... I can't quite see James' hand. Maybe he's got some sort of answer.
Yeah, I see Fabled Passage, but that's the card at the front, and that's the only good look I've got. So at least he has another land. That's good news. Alright. We'll see what he wants to do. Looks like 2 mana. Oh, Legion's End, your 1/1? Well, I guess we get to take a look at the hand, though. What do you think about Legion's End, your 1/1 human token?
Hard to sell me on that one.
Yeah.
This is mostly a peak. I guess there's some chance that a Lovestruck Beast in the next turn or 2 won't get to attack, but Michael's deck has a lot of ways to enable that thing to attack.
Plenty of 1/1s, yeah. Alright, well, we'll see. Draw, and looking for blue mana. Did not hit, so no Oko coming. So it will just be the 5/5 Lovestruck Beast.
Michael did have a Murderous Rider in hand, and I think I would have liked to see him just kill that Edgewall Innkeeper right now.
Oh yeah, that sounds much better than this play. As soon as your opponent draws a card off of it, you're just sad. So here is Temple of Malady. It'll allow James to scry 1. Scry 1 will go to the bottom. And just send it back. Well, it feels like Michael kind of got away with something here. James went to his 3rd turn and didn't draw cards with his Edgewall Innkeeper. That's pretty unlucky for James.
Indeed.
But looks like Michael, speaking of unlucky, misses his 3rd land drop. Variance has not been Michael's friend this match. He just can't catch a break, it feels like. I say as he played Oko on turn 2 and 2. Yeah, never mind. Michael's had it all right. Not ideal, obviously, but you definitely feel like you need to get pretty unlucky to play Oko on turn 2 and 2 of your 3 games and not win the match, you know?
The other thing, the previous turn when he had the opportunity to Murderous Rider that Edgewall Innkeeper, is it was one of the possibly the only times in this game where he's going to have an opportunity to do it without worrying about Veil of Summer.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so here is Swift End on that Edgewalling Keeper.
Right, that gets through.
Yeah, well, luckily enough,
Good
no
news.
Veil of Summer from James, so he's just going to go ahead and get to play that one out. Lovestruck Beast hanging out in exile. Once again, welcome to Paradise Games presents The Bachelor, featuring Michael and James. Ooh, Best in Queest.
Oh, baby.
Smacks for 4. All right, pressure's on.
If only we could attack. I mean, this Legion's End's looking pretty good now, just because how much life.
Yeah,
it
we'd be
saved, James.
dead or whatever.
You know, if
probably.
your hand's not much and
You
it's
just
not
need
like
time
Legion's End
or
kills
whatever.
anything that's on the board now.
I think Murderous Rider, the draw there from James. Here's that Fabled Passage I mentioned earlier. Looks like we'll go ahead and find ourselves a nice untapped land. Looking like Swamp will be the choice. We'll see what else James wants to do with his mana. I'm thinking Nissa seems quite good. Playing Lovestruck Beast to be able to block the Questing Beast seems like a definite play we can make.
Definitely on the table.
Yeah, we'll see what James elects for. Here is that Lovestruck Beast. And we'll see if he has anything else to do with his 2 mana. He has a Murderous Rider in his hand. Could be Swift Ending something on a future turn. Of course, this turn he does not have access to that. Doesn't have enough mana.
All right. Well, James did okay on his pivotal turn. What's Michael going to do this turn?
Yeah, if Michael can remove this Lovestruck Beast.
Get in like some sort of line where the Lovestruck Beast dies and the other Lovestruck Beast gets to attack.
Oh,
and
that would
James
be
going
absurd.
To 4,
Yeah,
and
that would be
the game
absurd.
feels pretty out of reach from there.
Yeah, even just kill Lovestruck Beast probably feels pretty good because you've got to be sensing some sort of weakness here from James if his best turn on turn 5 is Lovestruck Beast try to block, you know?
It's like Michael's looking at an Assassin's Trophy, wondering whether I'm supposed to just run that out here.
I'm leaning yes.
Yeah, it is true that it won't actually work out that well for him just because the Murderous Rider will get to clip the Questing Beast.
Yeah, unfortunately, but I'm still leaning yes. I think I'd do it, and I think I'd probably walk into getting punished.
Yeah, from Michael's seat, like it's not like you know about the Rider either.
Yeah, and you know, if your opponent, if I'm Michael, I think I'm somewhat confident that my opponent doesn't have a Rider, right? Because I think that Rider might have been a better line than this Questing Beast, but if you assume that your opponent's removal spell of choice will be Assassin's Trophy, then yeah, that is quite good. So here, just as we said, Assassin's Trophy takes out Lovestruck Beast, Questing Beast goes to attack. I expect Michael or James to go ahead and Swift End the Questing Beast.
Can't tell what's going on.
Yeah, it looks like he's just... Oh, looks like he's taking it down to 9.
Oh boy.
Okay. That's interesting. What do you think about this? And there's that Wildborn Champion.
I don't know. I feel like, especially with the fact that Murderous Rider costs you 2 life when you play it, it's hard for me to want to
Yeah, going to 7 is rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Wildborn Champion is a 2/2. Okay, means that Lovestruck Beast cannot attack still, but a 2/2 means that it's going to be able to profitably attack unless James, deploys something potent on this turn. We do see that Swift End in hand. I can't get a good look at anything else though, so looks like we're just gonna take an
Another Swift
untap
End?
and then Swift End on the Questing Beast. James goes to 7. We'll see if he has another choice of what he wants to do. Oh, just a Questing Beast. Questing Beast, no attack from James. Does not want to trade with the Lovestruck Beast. That makes sense. I mean, Michael's Lovestruck Beast is basically stranded, right? So
It's true, but as soon as we get...
I don't really want to start taking 2 from this Wildboard Champion.
Yeah.
Could even be more than that if Michael plays like a Gilded Goose or whatever, you know. Let's see what Michael has here. Looks like here is
Playing the Rider?
actual factual Murderous Rider. Send it back over to James. And at this point, feels like James is probably in a pretty comfortable spot. Michael's still missing land drops. James keeps drawing lands. Michael drew a Garrick. So Michael really just wants to draw lands. If he draws any blue land, he gets to cast Oko, and Oko's absurd here, as per usual. And gets to turn Questing Beast into a 3/3, and now we have reasonable attacks. Gets to turn Murderous Rider into a 3/3, whatever. Make food, make attacks.
Turn Wildborn Preserver into a 3/3, but get to +2.
Do whatever, yeah. You can do whatever. Oh, looks like another Oko off the top for Michael. Yikes. And here's Temple of Malady. James, however, fortunately for Michael, still just drawing lands, so he gets a little bit of a reprieve here. For it feels bad every time one of these players miss, but at least they're both missing, more or less, so it feels significantly less bad. Looks like we're going to swift end the Lovestruck Beast. This will allow us to start attacking with our own Questing Beast, so I'm pretty into this. Looks like also Murderous Rider getting in there.
Oh boy.
I mean, now we're just saying that both of us are going to gain 2 life.
I don't like that.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that, right? Like, we're going to end up tapping our guy for both players to gain 2 life. Doesn't seem great to me. So James will go to 7, Michael will go to 15. And then we'll see if James wants to perhaps play the second half of his Murderous Rider. Nope, looks like he just says go ahead. Oh, Watery Grave. Hello. All right. Blue mana and a land. So let's see now what James wants to do. He'll have Oko online. Down to 13 is Michael now.
13-7. So what do the attacks look like here?
Well, we don't have any now. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, right now, if we attack, we deal 2, right? Now, that's not great, of course, but
it's
every time Oko activates, it gets significantly better.
Yeah, absolutely. We get to make a food. We'll put a +1/+1 counter on our Wildborn champion.
Or
seems pretty good.
Looks
like
becoming a 3/3.
Oko made Questing Beast a 3/3.
Okay.
So Questing Beast now an Elk. Assassin's Trophy will take out Oko.
Ooh,
and honestly, I bet Michael's just okay with that. He's got another Oko.
Thrilled about that.
Yeah, he's probably thrilled.
Especially if he gets an island here.
Yeah, and I'm sure he will. Right?
Well, if he has one.
So now all of his mana problems are solved. We have Garrett coming down next turn.
Oh boy.
Right? Or Garrick or better.
Yeah,
right?
get Garrick plus.
If we aren't Garrick's the floor here. Like if we aren't casting Garrick, our turn is better, presumably. So like
and yeah,
pretty
because
insane.
James decided to do this.
Oh yeah, and because it's his main phase, he could just cast Oko.
Yeah.
Again. Oh, that is absurd. Oh no. You hate to see it.
Yeah, Oko's just coming right back in.
Yeah, that's not good news for James. That's for sure. Now we get a double activation. So now we can just go ahead and make a food, put a +1/+1 counter on our Wildborn champion. And now we have a good attack, too. I mean, we have to trade with the Questing Beast, and maybe we just don't want to do that also. Maybe our Wildborn
it's totally
champions
fine to just hold up here. We don't gain much by trading.
Better. Oh, why are we chump attacking with Murderous Rider, though?
That one I'm not sure about.
If we're attacking with one, we're attacking with both. All right, if I'm James, I'm just going to kill the Murderous Rider.
Yeah, I don't think
it's only 1 more point of damage. And granted, Michael is getting in 3 points here, but I'm not certain that I want to chump attack for 3 points, Like, now we're leaving our Oko exposed. So, like, our Oko...
it's just actually dead on the crack deck, right?
Well, it's at 6. So it is not
a Questing
dead.
Beast and
the Questing Beast is a 3/3.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, so it is not dead on board. But
and I guess because there's no vigilance.
Yeah, but if James has anything, then it will die. But I suppose 1 damage, not really very common out of these green-black
James
decks.
certainly doesn't currently have
the only real haste damage would be Questing Beast, but...
They're legendary, so...
Legendary Elk. These Questing Beasts. Alright. Well, James drew a card, says go. Doesn't want to attack. Let's see what Michael wants to do. He's going to trade a food with a Murderous Rider. That means that James will be denied the life gain.
Aggressive motion here.
Yeah, but I mean the food does gain 3 life in and of itself, so.
Well, see the thing is, he's gonna make a Garruk, and now the Wildborn Preserver is gonna be a 5/5.
Yeah, it's huge.
Oh, or we're just gonna kill the Questing Beast right here.
Questing Beast. All right, and then we get to attack for 3, put James to 1. Almost lethal, very almost lethal. If we have a land and a goose.
I think it might have been better just to make 2 wolves.
Yeah, I tend to agree.
And then you just force James to block.
Yeah.
Well, yes, you don't because there's a food.
Yeah, there's a food, but
still,
Oh, well.
I think just having the wolves.
All right, James is at 1. Does not crack the food on end step. Draws a card. It's
Gonna need a big
Murderous
one.
Rider. I don't think Murderous Rider is it. Which means that I think we will see Michael taking... Oh, Foulmire Knight. Oh, I think we're going to want to sacrifice our food before we take a damage here. Just, hold priority, sacrifice our food on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
Chump the attack.
Oh, he chumped
With a
the last
human.
attack with a human. So he is actually just going to 3 now.
Oh,
Got it.
I didn't realize he had a human.
Yeah,
Okay.
I missed that as well. Okay, so now we have 2 cards in our hand, a Foulmire Knight in play. Hopefully these cards in our hand are good. I know one of them is Murderous Rider. So that can at least theoretically deal with something. But maybe it should have killed a Planeswalker on his turn. So now this Wildborn Champion is huge.
Yeah.
But maybe we just need to kill Wildborn Champion so we don't die. I don't know. It doesn't feel like a good situation no matter what, right? Like,
Yeah, I mean, we're playing a green-black mirror, well, not mirror, but a green-black matchup, and there's a Garuk in play that it's usually going to spell Doom.
Yeah. And that's not referring to our last match, where Doom was more adequately spelled.
Yeah. We went into a deep review of the history of the English language in order to further explore how we can spell Doom.
That's a 300 level class for sure.
All right, we just hit time in the round.
History of mid-range. All right, so time in the round. I don't think that Michael's going to have any trouble closing this one up.
No, it doesn't seem like it.
I think he should just be able to...
Oh, well, that's...
Well, that'll do it.
Probably
I
just
do
it,
think,
right?
yeah. That should just leave James dead, right? I mean, I guess James does have a swift end, but that costs him 2 life. So here's an attack with these guys. Sacrifice the food, gain 3 life. This, of course, is a 5/5 Wildborn Champion. There's the handshake. And we will see Michael take down James for the 4-0 for tonight. Michael's been doing quite well with this deck lately. So congrats to Michael for cleaning up tonight. Well done to him. And with that, we are going to be done for tonight. So I'd like to thank everyone who came out, everybody who was here for part of the stream, everybody who was here for the whole stream. Thank you guys so much. It means so much. Without all of your guys' support, I can't be here every week doing this. So if you want to catch more of this, if you didn't catch it all, the VOD will be on our YouTube channel, Paradise_Games. So be sure to go and check out anything you missed. If you missed that sweet Esper Stacks mirror, I highly recommend checking that one out.
Match of the night for sure.
Oh, definitely. If you want to check any of our previous live streams, they are also up on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to come and check us out live. We stream every Monday and Friday at 6:30 p.m. at twitch.tv/paradise_games. And we are always bringing you, the best live local content. At least that's what I think. So thank you so much to all of our sponsors for supporting the stream. Be sure to check out our social medias. Follow us. We do have a Pioneer 1K coming up on December 14th. I am very excited for that. I assume I will be able to bring that one to you guys as well. So even if you can't make it, you'll be able to catch it online. And thank you so much for tuning in. I think that's basically all I've got to say. You got anything else, Steven?
I'm excited personally for this tournament, the Friday tournament, starting in 2 weeks for a couple in advance of our 1K, is actually going to be Pioneer FNM.
Oh, I'm stoked for that too. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm super looking forward to that. That format's really sweet. I know a lot of people are really excited about it this week, and
Yeah.
I'm one of those people.
If you're a Pioneer fan, be sure to go ahead and check out Paradise Games. You'll see all of the updates on Facebook, Twitter, etc. So anyway, with that, I would like to thank our last sponsor for tonight's stream, Advancify. Advancify is the best local business for IT web design and data recovery. If you need anything IT tech related, Advancify is the place to go. Go to www.advancify.me and let them know we sent you. It helps us out. It helps them out. And super big shout out to Advancify for sponsoring the stream tonight. And with that, we will leave you with some hot damn scandal, and I will be back on Monday for Modern. Thank you so much.